Welcome, Cowboy fans and Cowboy haters alike. I'm the G, and I'm the host of Let's Talk Cowboys, where we talk facts. And so today, we're going to really kind of focus this show around some of the things that are still going on about Mike McCarthy. In particular, an interview with Bobby Belt on 105.3 The Fan. I find this to be so interesting, what he is saying about Mike McCarthy. And I'm going to finish covering it. I know Mike McCarthy is gone, but I'm going to finish covering this thing about Mike McCarthy because I'm tired of all the capping as it pertains to Mike McCarthy. I'm telling you, Jerry Jones does a lot of things wrong. But what he did with Mike McCarthy was not wrong. Mike McCarthy is your employee. And if you don't want Mike McCarthy to talk to anyone else, then that's your right. You don't actually get to go, your job doesn't allow you to go look for a job while you're employed with them, even when you're on a 2-week notice. The expectation is you do that on your own time, or you do it after you're done. He was under contract. In a contract, you don't get to talk to anyone else unless the team says so. And the insanity to all this is that the media, we gotta understand as fans, we gotta stop letting the media drive us. The media drives a lot of our thought processes as it applies to this team. Gotta stop doing that. We're gonna talk about this here in just a moment. Let me do some greetings, and then we're going to get right into it. Wilson Santiago, what's going on? Lord Nova, what's going on? Andre, Brother Roderick, what's going on? Andre, what's going on? Wicked, what's going on with you? Michael Rizzo, what's going on? All right, let's talk some facts. Bobby Belt, let's get this clear, because some of us already know this. Let's get this clear. Bobby Belt does not like Mike McCarthy. Straight up. I'm not saying straight up. I know what I'm saying. Straight up. Straight up, as we used to say in the hood. Bobby Belt doesn't like Mike McCarthy. Some might think I don't like Mike McCarthy. Sometimes facts will make you think somebody don't like somebody. No, I like Mike McCarthy. I think Mike McCarthy, the father figure, I can see why this team like him. Because a lot of it, he makes the team feel comfortable. You know, he's one of these guys. You can tell. Mike McCarthy, people person. Mike McCarthy is even someone that if I got a team, hey, you know what? You can't coach for me. How about you kind of sit on this advisory board? Well, I mean, we'll pay you on this advisory board. You know, you seem to know some really helpful things about football. And you think about, people don't understand that when you go in for interviews, for example, when you go in for interviews for coaching jobs, they're not always calling you in because they're going to give you the job. What the thought is, it's okay, you know, we're not really expecting him to get the job, but maybe if he woos us with something, but then maybe you woo them with something, and then somebody else come and woo them even better. But in all of the interviews, you got to think about what happens. They take notes on what these guys are saying. And even if they're not going to hire him, they may still value something that they say. So let's not get all, upset and things about interviews. I mean, if the Chicago Bears really want Mike McCarthy, people don't understand something. Let me tell you, as someone who has been out in the certain fields, and I have a certain skill set. And all of us, I'm pretty sure, so don't take this as bragging. but I have a skill set that I do very well. And when somebody wants me, and if I say I can't come talk to you for 2 weeks, let me tell you something. If somebody really wants you, they don't care if it's going to take a month. They're going to wait. And while they may keep interviewing, but if they want you, those interviews are secondary. You know what those interviews are? These are the people we'll consider if we don't get him, if we don't get you. And so for folk to be all in an uproar that Jerry Jones didn't let Mike McCarthy go interview on his dime, what's wrong with you? There is something seriously wrong with you to think that someone's going to let you interview on their dime. Because number two, see, a lot of people don't even get this part. Jerry Jones and Mike McCarthy, they didn't even get a chance to get to the terms of the contract. But they didn't even get to all that stuff. Mike was out the moment Jerry, and I'm pretty sure, it sounds like to me that Jerry dropped the tolerance of ambiguity. Jerry dropped the tolerance of ambiguity on us, and then came back and probably dropped the tolerance of ambiguity on Mike McCarthy. Hey, tell you what, 2-year deal with an option of a third. 3-year deal, option of a fourth. But we're not giving you a guaranteed 5 years, Mike McCarthy. Understand that. And Mike McCarthy said, I'm out. Hey, that's your right. And I'm going to tell you about, I'm telling y'all. Y'all not believing me, but I'm telling you facts. I'm telling you facts because you see this all the time, and you see other athletes talk about this. And Aaron Rodgers, I know sometimes Aaron Rodgers may be a little weird living up in the Himalayan mountains in the summer, laying in the stream with rocks on his back, getting some kind of treatment. But Aaron Rodgers is only saying what I said before. These athletes, they go from being players to being media members. And when they become media members, they start saying things about the players. And they're saying things, and if you're a player, you're going, why is he doing this? He's been here. He knows what this is like. He knows the game. Behind the game, he knows the game. So why he acting brand new? Why he acting like he don't really know what's going on when he knows what's going on? Let me tell you, the Troy Aikman, Dallas Cowboy fans, I'm one of you. You Dallas Cowboy fans, I'm trying to explain something to you that you don't want to accept. The Jimmy Johnson, how about them Cowboys? Jimmy Johnson, 92, 93 Super Bowl winner. It's the same Jimmy Johnson, but it's not the same Jimmy Johnson. It's not the same Jimmy Johnson who was coaching the Cowboys. Now it's the Jimmy Johnson who's a media member. And he understands his job is to say things that make you go, ooh, what did he say? If Jimmy said it, let me tell you something. Wicked is a fan of the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't know if Wicked will admit it. Just listen to Terry Bradshaw. Terry Bradshaw is just getting paid at this point. I guarantee you, Terry Bradshaw is looking at no tape hardly, no film. He's getting his notes. He's getting the notes from games and things like that. He's getting a script from folks who have done the research or have done some research, or they got a point to make or an agenda to make. They give him that stuff. And then he's just saying things off the cuff whenever he's watching the game. He's just saying things based on pure emotion now. Jimmy's doing the same thing. And I'm bringing this up because of Troy Aikman. Now they're making a big deal out of Troy Aikman. Troy Aikman destroyed the Dallas Cowboys. Okay, well, if that's your take, I'm not gonna argue with that. Troy Aikman only said what I've said many times on this channel. But he didn't say it in the same way that I'm saying it. This team, it is an attractive job if, you have to understand the if part. If you want everybody to know your name, Trey Songz, this is the place you come. Because everybody's going to know your name. Everybody's going to know your name. And that is fact. Because this is the most valuable, the most popular, the most beloved, and the most hated franchise in all of the world. So if that's what you're looking for, come on to Dallas. Oh, and we got legacy. Don't you worry. We got legacy. We got Super Bowls. We've been to Super Bowls. We haven't been to one in about 28 years. But we got legacy. The media, always in our business. You want attention? Come on. You want to be a part of the legacy? Oh, yeah, come on. And if you can win in Dallas, Dak Prescott has said this multiple times. Man, if you can win in Dallas, man, if you can win in Dallas, you think you're popular now? You have solidified your entire future off the field if you win with Dallas. Let me tell y'all something. If Dak Prescott, which I think is going to happen in the next 3 years, if Dak Prescott gets a Super Bowl in Dallas in these days and times, let me tell you something. First ballot Hall of Famer. Dak Prescott will change the entire narrative because I want y'all to think about this. You're hearing this here first. You ain't heard this nowhere else. Roger did it under Landry. How good was Landry? Legendary. Defensive concepts, offensive concepts, special teams concepts, the way coaches run teams, GMs run teams. Tom Landry is legendary because he was all those things. Troy Aikman won in a non-salary cap era. Herschel Walker trade. Jimmy Johnson, super staff, super team. Jerry says, we must win at all costs. Troy Aikman won in that era. Could you imagine if Dak Prescott wins in this era? In the stingy Jerry era? In the Jerry always talking era? In the era where Jerry seems to run the team, if Dak Prescott can win a Super Bowl in the next 3 years, y'all might disagree with me, but if Dak Prescott wins a Super Bowl in this era, it's more impressive than Troy Aikman. Because it'll be a salary cap era. No quarterback in Dallas history has won a Super Bowl in the salary cap era because it didn't exist. But the salary cap era has limited not only the Cowboys, it's limited a lot of teams. It's harder to build a dynasty. This is why when you look at what Robert Kraft, Bill Belichick, and Tom Brady did, it's impressive. When you're looking at Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid and their whole ownership group, what they're doing is impressive. Why? It's harder to do in a salary cap era. And if Dak Prescott can do this in a salary cap era with limited players, because he's never going to be able to get as many players as Troy Aikman and Roger Staubach. He'll never be able to do it, especially now in a 3-year span. And even in a 12-year span, it would be hard to get the amount of good players that Troy had because of free agency allowed you to get those players. In the era of Roger Staubach, where free agency wasn't even a thing, it wasn't even talked about. You basically could get a player and keep them for life. You could basically get a player and keep them for life. So you could build dynasties in the 60s, the 70s. You could build dynasties in the 80s. But now it's all different. Dak Prescott wins a Super Bowl. He'll go down in infamy. He'll go down in infamy because people don't understand. It's strange what happens after you win a Super Bowl. Strange what happens because Peyton Manning, he wasn't winning them early. And a lot of people would tell you, the only one that people probably really look at the most is the one he got with the Colts. Because them other ones, man, Peyton Manning was along for the ride. Peyton Manning was along for the ride on them ones in the end. And everybody know it. Everybody know it. If Dak can get one in this era, he will go down in infamy. He will. And that's one of the reasons why Dak wanted to stay. So if you are coming here as a coach, this job is attractive if you want everybody to know your name. But number two, let's look at the flip side of what Troy said. This is not a premier job if your main concern is winning. It's not a premier job. Not because you're not expected to win, because guess what? Jerry actually expects you to win. Jerry just expects you to win his way. With all of his antics, with his do more with less, tolerance of ambiguity. Jerry comes up with all these new things. Yeah, Jerry expects you to win with all that. I'm going to tell you something that I thought about today. I'm going to tell y'all something that I thought about today. And I believe it is pure factual what I thought about. Let me read a few comments. I'm going to tell you something that I thought about today. And then I'm going to get into this thing with Bobby Belt because it's fascinating. I want to write this down so I don't forget my thought here. But it's fascinating when you think about this thing with Mike McCarthy and Jerry. And I'm going to blow your mind with this after I read some of your comments. Wilson Santiago, what's up? He said, what's up? Yes, sir. What's going on, everybody? Andre said, I am glad that Mike McCarthy is gone. Man, I'm about to throw a party up in this piece, Andre. You don't understand. I'm throwing a party. Wicked. What up, Wicked? What's the chances primetime coaches the Cowboys? 0. I'm going to mention that in a moment, too. Yeah, they trying to say Jerry did him wrong. No, he didn't. By not letting him talk to the Bears. Jerry Jones let the man stay longer than he was supposed to. Yeah. And I do believe, contrary to what people say, I do think there was a part of Jerry that wanted Mike McCarthy to stay. And I think, we'll never know what they were talking about on the couch. They never got to the negotiations. They're literally sitting on the couch, chopping it up with cigars and Hennessy. They're chopping it up. And I'm sure in the chopping it up, Jerry is basically laying the law down to Mike McCarthy that if you stay here, these are the things that are going to have to change. See, we'll never know. See, we think the straw that broke the camel's back. See, what a lot of folk don't understand when they talk about the straw that broke the camel's back. Man, that was the straw that broke the camel's back. So understand something. It was the straw. But it's the other things on the camel's back that also helps break the back. So the question is, in them chopping it up for 10 hours. So you telling me. So someone is trying to tell me, and they can tell y'all want to believe what you want to. But you're here now, so I'm going to help you to understand. Don't listen to what people tell you all the time. You got to learn how to evaluate the facts. Hold on a second. So you're telling me that Mike McCarthy and Jerry Jones sat down, they're saying something like, what, 10 hours in the office, just chit-chatting and talking and chopping it up. And Jerry said, 2 years with a third option. That's when Mike McCarthy jumped up and said, I'm out of here. If you believe that, you're crazy. If you believe that, you're crazy. See, we want to dramatize this. I understand. It's the media. Social media, reality TV, which actually isn't reality TV. I mean, it's actually an oxymoron. It's not actually reality TV because it's even scripted. And so the media, it's their job to dramatize every story. But when we start looking at the facts, the story actually looks different. You can't tell me that Mike McCarthy and Jerry Jones are talking all these hours and everything is going cool until Jerry says, hey man, 2 years with an option of 1. I'm out of here. What? So hold on a second. We can't even say that Jerry was saying I'll pay you $12 million this year because it doesn't even seem like they got to that point. But you're telling me the number of years is the only thing that's the problem. No, that may have been the straw that broke the camel's back. That may have been a major issue, but there may be other things that contributed to that. And I believe they did contribute to that. Michael Rizzo. Bobby Belt is very happy Mike McCarthy is gone. He said McCarthy didn't like Dan Quinn at all. Wait a minute, Michael Rizzo. Hey, welcome to the channel. I mentioned this before Bobby Belt even said it. Now, I didn't say Mike McCarthy didn't like Dan Quinn. But let me tell you what I said, Rizzo. I said this with hearing nothing from Fisher or anyone else. Jerry Jones was trying to groom. He was trying to groom Dan Quinn to be the coach of this team. Man, y'all not hear me. This team changed. Not with Mike McCarthy. This team changed with Dan Quinn. This team changed with Dan Quinn. And even though Dan Quinn don't get the Super Bowl win like Mike McCarthy, even though that's an indictment, I'm sorry, 13 seasons with Aaron Rodgers, surely you can get one. Dan Quinn, with that debacle in Atlanta, we don't realize something though. Dan Quinn don't get all the blame for that. Dan Quinn is the head coach. He gets the ultimate blame. Y'all know who his OC is, right? Who his OC was. His OC was none other than Kyle Shanahan, who I'm a big fan of. But somebody got to tell me why Kyle Shanahan didn't run the ball. You up 21 points on Tom Brady and the Patriots. All you got to do is run the clock out. Score a field goal. Get one touchdown. Couldn't do any of that. The whole team panicked. So we know Dan Quinn. But let me tell you something about Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn. Somebody tell me if Dan Quinn had a quarterback as good as Aaron Rodgers. I'll wait. Dan Quinn didn't have a quarterback as good as Aaron Rodgers. No, he didn't. So when you think about Dan Quinn as a coach overall, someone may not like this, but I'm going to tell you the truth. Dan Quinn's a better coach than Mike McCarthy. Dan Quinn's a better coach than Mike McCarthy. Dan Quinn is a better coach than Mike McCarthy. Dan Quinn. Mike McCarthy is an analytics guy. If you hadn't noticed, he's an analytics guy. He's an analytics guy, and he's a people person. So he makes his decisions on the field. He's looking at analytics. He even gauges how hard his players practice by analytics, connecting GPSs to their body, looking at their heart rates, comparing their heart rates to last season's heart rates. I mean, all kinds of things. And you sit down with Mike McCarthy, he'll blow your mind. I'm going to tell you something. Mike McCarthy is one of them type of people. Man, if you don't have a real good mind, Mike McCarthy will blow your mind. Mike McCarthy will tear you up with analytics, PowerPoints. I mean, all kinds of studies. This is Mike McCarthy because we hear him talk this jargon all the time. Well, the analytics say. Oh, is that why you did that fake punt right there? Well, the analytics said right there. Oh, is that why you went for it on that fourth down on that yard? Well, the analytics said. That's Mike McCarthy. He's analytical. He's a father figure, but they don't meet. He doesn't coach well. He'll get you to read a book. He'll get you to watch a movie. He'll bust a watermelon. But when it comes to coaching you as a straight up player, can't do it. Michael Parsons running his mouth on the sideline. You know what a coach can do? Hey, shut up. Settle down. We're a team. Let's get it together, guys. We're better than this. Let's pick up the pace. This isn't what we practiced. Dak, why did you throw that ball? Stop forcing it to CeeDee Lamb, Dak. If he's not open, don't throw it to him. That's not Mike McCarthy. Dan Quinn. Hate Dan Quinn all you want to, but get the Dallas Cowboy love out of your mind just for a moment and get the hate for the Washington, used to be Redskins, now Commanders. Get that out of your mind and let this soak in what Dan Quinn did. Dan Quinn went to the Washington Commanders with some of the Dallas Cowboys players, a rookie quarterback, new owner, new GM. And isn't it strange? We had 3 12-win seasons with Mike McCarthy? Or did we have 3 12-win seasons with Dan Quinn? Which one is it? Which one is it? I can tell you this. Mike Fisher said something that I vehemently disagree with. Mike Fisher said, you cannot look at a team and know what's going on in the building as in knowing the culture of the team. I disagree. Man, you see culture all over people's face. You see culture in the way people carry themselves. You see culture in the way people perform. And you hear culture when you hear people talk. When the talk is matching the walk, you understand the culture. And if you listen to Michael Parsons, I don't know, I can't believe I'm saying it either. But if you listen to Michael Parsons as he talks about Dan Quinn, Trayvon Diggs as he talks about Dan Quinn. Jaden Daniels as he talks about Dan Quinn. Bobby Wagner as he talks about Dan Quinn. Any of those Seattle Seahawks players as they talk about Dan Quinn. He's a culture builder. He is. He's a culture builder. He's a leader of men. He motivates men. He does. And it's obvious. How does he go to Washington? Tell me they got a super team. I'm going to tell you a lie. I'm going to tell you a flat out lie. They do not have a super team. They don't. They're not even what they're going to be in a couple of years. If Dan Quinn stays on this trajectory, I don't understand the Marshawn Lattimore thing, but we'll see how that turns out. If they stay on this trajectory, the Washington Commanders are going to be hard to deal with for the Cowboys and the Eagles and the Giants and the entire NFC. The Commanders are going to be hard to deal with. We can poo-poo them all we want to. 12 wins is 12 wins. See, we can't have it both ways. We always want it both ways. Well, Dak Prescott got 12 wins. I heard somebody today talking about, yeah, Dak beats up on bad teams. Oh, they did Mike McCarthy wrong, though, because he got 3 12-win seasons. Which one is it? Which one is it? Does Mike McCarthy get credit for 36 wins in 3 seasons? But then Dak Prescott gets trashed for 36 wins in 3 seasons. Which one is it? Mike McCarthy is not a culture builder. I mean, not the least the culture you want to be in. He's not a culture builder. He doesn't breed championship mentality. This is the next phase of Dan Quinn. I'm very interested to see how this turns out in 5 years. If the Lord blesses me to live that long, I'm very interested to see what is going to be the crescendo of Dan Quinn in Washington. Because let me tell you something. Boy, he done set the bar so high now. Man, you got 12 wins. 12 wins. The culture, you've already got it just like you want it. Everything how you want it. Now, you got to get a championship. But if you think about Mike McCarthy, it's amazing to me how short our memory is. We've all been complaining about Mike McCarthy. Even in the 12-win seasons, we've all been complaining about Mike McCarthy. We've all been complaining about play calling. We've all been complaining about the readiness of his teams. Even this media, this is why I don't listen to them. Because the same ones who were hollering that Jerry did him wrong were the same ones who were hollering he's inept. His teams don't look ready. He doesn't prepare his teams well. He doesn't win the big games. They've all been saying this. Oh, hold on a second. Now it's time to get some likes and some clicks because the NFL viewership has been down the entire season and the Cowboys have not been big news other than losing. And so that you haven't been able to use them the way you usually been using them. And y'all don't find this to be strange? It's the playoffs. And the Dallas Cowboys coaching vacancy is the only thing they're covering. I didn't hardly see anybody. What were the headlines about last night's game? I've seen a few things, but that hasn't been the major story. The major story has been the Cowboys. That's why I say if you want everybody to know your name, come on to Dallas. Andre, now let me finish the story about Troy Aikman. Let me tell you about Troy Aikman. I think Troy Aikman, just listen to what he said, Andre. All of y'all, listen to what Troy Aikman said. Troy Aikman said, I thought they were going to bring Mike McCarthy back. So the question you have to ask yourself, Why did Troy think that? Why did Troy think? Why did Troy think they were bringing Mike McCarthy back? Now, someone said, isn't Troy Aikman still connected with the Cowboys? Yes, he is. Did y'all not notice that after Troy criticized Mike McCarthy early in the season? It was after the Detroit game, I think it was. And it's like something changed. Something changed. Jerry Jones started singing the praises of Mike McCarthy. Oh, then Troy Aikman started singing the praises of Mike McCarthy. Then Jimmy Johnson started singing the praises of Mike McCarthy. It was almost like someone had told them, yeah, we're bringing Mike back more than likely. Go back and look at that interview on Troy's face. You know what Troy looked like to me? For all of you who have children, you ever took your children somewhere and you say, hey, now when you get in here, don't you be running your mouth. My mom, I remember when I was a kid, my mom would take me to visit her friend. And my mom, before we get out of the car, she'd be like, okay, don't you get in here showing out. Don't you get in here acting a fool. And you better not be in here telling our business. Because y'all know how kids are. Boy, we get somewhere and boy, we get to get a little bit of attention. Get to dance around, people get to laughing, and your parents sitting there looking at you like, you know you're going to get a whooping when you get home, don't you? I mean, they don't even have to say it. They're just looking at you like, go ahead and clown. Just clown all you want to. Because I told you what not to do when we came over here, but you're doing it anyway. Oh, yeah, go ahead and have your fun. And then they're giving you them laughs like, ah! You already know what that means. But you keep on showing out. You ever said something over somebody's house that you wasn't supposed to say? And your parents are sitting there like, what in the world is going on? What? Troy Aikman, go back and look at that interview. Troy Aikman is looking like somebody that was told one thing and now somebody's doing something else. He's looking like somebody who was left out of the loop. He looking like them parents when you say stuff you shouldn't be saying. Troy Aikman is looking like, hold on a second, everything I was told, Mike was coming back. He didn't look like somebody. Troy looked visibly disturbed that he was not told. Don't let Troy fool you. He not only loves the Cowboys, Jerry talks to these guys from time to time. He talks to them from time to time. These guys know Cowboys business. They do. These guys know Cowboys business because they talk to Jimmy. They do. I mean, they talk to Jerry. They do. And I think Jerry, I think this thing with Mike McCarthy, it threw Troy Aikman for a loop. Because why would he be surprised? Unless he was told. Because if he wasn't told, why is he surprised? Troy is smarter than me. He's been around the Cowboys. Personally, he's played for him. Troy is smarter than me. So you're telling me, Troy Aikman, you couldn't pick up on the way Jerry and Steven were talking about Mike McCarthy for what was it? 8 straight weeks? Get to the final game of the season. Jerry talking totally different. He talking about riverboat gamblers and ambiguity, all kinds of stuff. This didn't sound like Jerry Jones and who been talking about Mike McCarthy. I said it before. He was bragging way too much. He was bragging on McCarthy way too much.
I knew something was, it was then. It was then. Because at first I was like, I think they're going to bring him back. I don't believe they're going to let him go. But it was when they started talking about him so much, I said, nah. You don't talk about somebody this much. With the power to re-sign them now, and you're going to wait until the end of the season? Nah, something is stinky. Something is stink. I'm telling you. Let me read this super chat. Roderick, my brother, what's going on? Oh, man, appreciate you, my brother. $9.99. Yes, sir. You know how I do it, brother Roderick. You hear me on Sundays. You hear me on Sundays. Real Fan 1. Real Fan 1, me and you agree on a lot of things. I'm not going to agree with you. Mike McCarthy did not do the best with what he could. He did not do the best with what he was given. And that is the very thing I have against him. No, he didn't. Nope. He did not do the best with what he was given. And that's the same indictment that was on him in Green Bay. I'm sorry, man. You got Aaron bleeping Rodgers. You had great wide receivers, great tight ends, great running backs. Mike McCarthy has had it all in Green Bay. All of it. He mustered one Super Bowl. Nope. I can read you the report again, Real Fan. They were saying these things about Mike McCarthy. His last 4 seasons in Green Bay, steady decline. Did he do the best with what he was given? Because the very thing they was complaining about was he didn't know how to use the weapons that he had. This is Mike McCarthy. So you said he did the best with what he was given. And you telling me Cavonte Turpin is not an 800 to 900 yard receiver with 80 receptions and 8 to 9 touchdowns. You're telling me he did the best of what he had. You're telling me it took us. Now, Mike McCarthy's smarter than me when it comes to football. Mike McCarthy way smarter than me, Real Fan 1. Anybody that's been on this channel the whole time, how long have I been screaming Rico Dowdle? Run him 25 times. Run him 30 times. Rico Dowdle can get you 100 yards per game. How long did I scream that? It took Mike McCarthy only what? Dak Prescott to go down? It only took 10 weeks. It only took 10 weeks. It took you 10 weeks. And even after you figured it out, you went into a Cincinnati Bengal game where they had no answer for Rico Dowdle. There was nothing they can do to stop him. And you decided to put the ball in the hands of Cooper Rush. 7 straight incompletions in 7 straight incompletions after a 14-yard run by Rico Dowdle. There's no answer. That's me. This is simple. It's Rico time. We got this game. Rico just got 14. Give it to him again. Give it to him until they stop him. Then we're going to open up the play action, and then we're going to let Cooper Rush go down the field. Nope. No, he didn't. The things that Mike McCarthy could control, he never controlled. And what he controlled was the play calling. Bottom line, bar none. And it was terrible. This play calling is trash. It is. That West Coast is trash. Straight up and down, no special effects. That stale Coast, West Coast offense is trash. Unless you got super athletes all the way across the ball. It don't work. And if you're not a smart enough coach to know that the players don't fit the system that you're running, if you're not a smart enough coach to do that, you're fired. I'm not smart as these guys. These guys know football better than me. This is simple stuff. You're fired. You're fired with me. I'm telling you, I'm glad he's gone. I don't understand no, I'm glad he's gone. This man did not use Cavonte Turpin in the right way. How many times did I come on this channel every single week and say, Cavonte Turpin must get the ball more? The Cowboys must use Cavonte Turpin on offense. How many times did I say it? Kevontae Turpin, first team All-Pro kick returner. You know why? Because there's no way Mike McCarthy can stop him from getting the ball on kickoff returns. So imagine if they applied that same principle. Hold on a second. This dude is magical on kickoff returns. Maybe we ought to make him our gadget guy on offense and keep him on the field. Could y'all imagine this? What if the Cowboys had at least 4 drives per game? 4 drives per game, maybe 5. Kevontae Turpin on the field the whole time. What do you think that looks like? Keeping him in motion. Lining him up in the backfield. Putting him in the slot. What do you think that looks like? So you're telling me I can think of this stuff. And I don't even do this job. I don't even do what he does. So you're telling me I can think of this stuff. I'm telling you now. Kevontae Turpin is a restricted free agent. The Dallas Cowboys are probably going to wind up paying Kevontae Turpin somewhere around $5.2 million for 1 year if they want to keep him. And after that, who knows? Because the way they talk, I don't know if they'll keep Kevontae Turpin past 1 year. Let Kevontae Turpin go to a team like Kansas City. Let him go to Kansas City. Watch what he look like. Kevontae Turpin will be crying. If Kevontae Turpin leaves this team and goes somewhere else, Dallas Cowboy fans will be crying. I'm not giving it. Nope, he didn't. He didn't. Cowboys hate her. Every other team does, but Jerry, and it's applauded. Give me some more clarity on that one. Telling us. I'm telling you, man, Andre, this thing about Jerry Jones, people don't understand. This is normal practice. If there's a coach that you want to keep, you don't let him go and talk to someone else. Jerry Jones wanted to keep Mike McCarthy, and I think Mike McCarthy wanted to stay with the Cowboys because if he didn't, he could have just said no negotiations. He wanted to stay. Oh, yeah, Zimmer's out. But I said this before. Y'all might not have catch the hints I was telling you. I think Zimmer did this as a favor to Jerry. I think Zimmer did this for Jerry. A 1-year deal. Because this was a part of the plan. For Mike McCarthy to be on a 1-year deal. Prove it deal. Prove it, Mike. Do more with less. This is Jerry. I don't agree with it, but it's Jerry. Because I believe they should have ran the team back. But I'm going to tell you in a minute why I don't believe Jerry ran that team back now that I've kind of thought about this. I'm going to tell you why I didn't bring him back. Wilson said in the whole Deion Sanders thing, Jerry knew he was going to say no. Now, let's understand. Wilson Santiago. Do not underestimate Deion Sanders. Anybody on this channel been here knows how I feel about Deion Sanders' favorite athlete. But is this Jerry or is it Deion? Is this Jerry or is it Deion? Everybody said Deion's a coaching candidate. Has Jerry said that? Is Jerry saying Deion's a... Let me tell you something about Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones' mouth runs like water. Jerry Jones talks in very cryptic languages sometimes. So you have to kind of get in and listen to what Jerry is saying to decipher it. And I'm laughing at folk talking about Jerry don't have a plan. Man, come on. Jerry got a plan. This whole season's been Jerry's plan. And y'all might not realize it, but a part of Jerry's plan has been proven. What does this team look like without injuries? What does it look like? So they were 7-9 with injuries, or 7-10 with injuries. So what did they look like without injuries? Jerry Jones let all those players go. He went with his guys. He went all in on his guys. He waited to put the in his guys. He waited. He said he was going all in. He forgot to add on his guys, the young guys who've been there, been backups. He's going all in on them. But when you think about it in totality, they got 7 wins. So this team stays healthy. How many do they get? How many wins does this team get if they're healthy? Even with Mike McCarthy's terrible play calling, what do they get? 10? Jerry Jones wants to do this his way. Jerry's had a plan all along. We just hadn't liked the plan. We've never liked Jerry's plans. I mean, we've never liked Jerry's plans. Jerry has a plan. Jerry had a plan, and Jerry still got a plan. And I'm telling you, Jerry, in his mind, even knew if Mike turns this down, I already got in my mind who I want. Jerry knows who he wants, and that list is very short. Jerry's a shrewd operator. We don't like how he operates. We don't like the decisions that he makes, but Jerry has a plan. And Deion Sanders is not the plan. Somebody says, oh, you don't know that. Yes, I do. I do know that based on the facts. Because Deion Sanders is not going to coach a team, and he's already said it. He's not going to come to the pros unless he can coach not one, but both of his sons. Deion's telling us something. I'm going to do a video on this tonight. Y'all don't understand how much Deion dropped atomic bombs. And he been dropping atomic bombs. And Deion, we're calling this Jerry Jones, this whole Deion Sanders thing. Y'all better read this a little bit better than this. I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting on the announcement from Colorado. I'm just waiting. I'm waiting on Colorado to give Deion Sanders a raise. I'm waiting on Colorado to approach Deion Sanders with some kind of extension. Why would I be waiting on that? Because do we not realize the more pro teams, the more NFL teams talk about Deion Sanders, the more valuable he is to Colorado? Y'all don't think Deion Sanders is smart? Why did Deion Sanders have to come out and say, hey, yeah, man, it's flattering, or whatever he's saying, all this stuff Deion talking about? Why did he have to come out and say that? Deion doesn't count as an interview. Why did he have to come out and say that? I know why he's coming out and saying it. Because he wants to make it well aware. Teams want me. Teams want me. Colorado. Teams want me. Keep playing with me. Because the offers are only going to get better and better. Y'all better understand the power of negotiation. And especially in this new era, negotiation by media. It's powerful. Man, you can float a thought out into the air in this social media era, and man, a lie, a rumor will travel way faster than the truth. This is why people find themselves in trouble so much, because the lie spreads faster than the truth. The lie is more attractive than the truth. When you start telling truth, people start, oh man, I don't want to hear that. Oh, you so negative. Oh, you don't know what you talking about. Well, all the facts are right there. Who cares about the facts? That's your opinion. No, actually, it's your opinion that you're mad about. People love to be lied to. This is why reality TV is so popular. People love to be lied to. They love to think. I remember as a child, I thought wrestling was real. I stopped watching wrestling because it's not real. But the people who watch wrestling, they know it's not real, but they love it. Why? Because they love to be lied to. They wish this stuff was true, but it's not. It's entertainment. It's a lie. Lies are entertaining. A lot of the movies we watch, they're not true. Sometimes we just love to be lied to. We've let movies destroy our relationships. Music destroy our relationships. We get destroyed by lies that we want to believe. When the reality is that we just would have paid attention to the facts we already knew. This is stupid. Y'all better stop thinking this is Jerry Jones when it comes to Deion Sanders, man. Deion Sanders knows how to play this game too, man. Hater Herder said, I've been a fan since 86. I was 8 years old. Before Jerry, I'm tired. His fault's being applauded. No, his fault's not being applauded. Like I said, we don't like what he's doing. But Jerry has a plan. But I can tell you this. I think the Mike McCarthy thing was a mistake from the beginning. I don't think the search was wide enough. When I hear the story of how they hired Mike McCarthy, it's sickening to me. Jerry Jones Jr. I don't even know who Jerry Jones Jr. is. I mean, I know he's Jerry Jones Jr., but I'm going to have to do a little research on him because is he the son or is he Steven's son? I mean, he's Jerry Jones Jr. He's a player in some of this stuff. Y'all do know this, right? Now I'm realizing something. Y'all think we're done with Jerry? There's someone named Jerry Jones Jr. He's in this too. I mean, they're saying stuff like, well, they went to dinner and Jerry Jones Jr. leans over to Jerry and says, I think we found our guy. What? With no search? With no wide net search? This is what we're doing. And you know how we justified Mike McCarthy? He got a Super Bowl. When are we going to stop this? How long does a man get to ride a Super Bowl? Mike Tomlin, I love you. But man, how long do you get to ride a Super Bowl? You're a great coach. But someone may call me crazy because you haven't won in so many years. We're going to start having to question anyone who says you're a great coach. What's the problem? One of them I know. You haven't had a quarterback since Ben Roethlisberger. You hadn't had a running game. What part are you playing in all of this? And if you're not playing a good enough part in this, I believe Mike Tomlin, it might be time to move on and find some greener pastures or just find a different environment. Maybe you need something different because we know you're good, Mike. The things you say, the way you lead men, but it's not winning. It's Mike McCarthy too. I don't understand. Well, how do we come about this? And like I said, Jerry's not being applauded. I'm just telling you, we know Jerry. This is who Jerry is. This is who he is. We know exactly who Jerry Jones is. And that's why I'm telling us this thing with Deion Sanders. Hey, hold on a second, everybody. Stop thinking that's Jerry Jones. Deion Sanders is using these two. This is one of the reasons why people are saying that him and Jerry may be a match made in football heaven. Why? Because they both are alike in some instances. The only difference to me with Deion Sanders is Deion Sanders loves the show, but the winning must come with the show for Deion Sanders. This is one of the reasons why I just know he wouldn't come to Dallas. Deion is the show without Jerry. But if Deion is going to be the show with Jerry, Deion would be telling Jerry, nah, bruh, you know how I operate. You got me to win back in 94 for the 95 season. You got me to win, right, Jerry? You didn't bring me in for the Neon Deion show. No, you brought me in to win. So, Jerry, if you bring me in to win again, then we better win. Oh, and you better believe you're going to pay me. Man, people don't understand. Deion Sanders has an $8 million buyout on top of what you're going to pay him. And Deion Sanders will not come to no pro team and be middle of the pack paid. If you're going to get Deion Sanders to leave college, where they treat college coaches like royalty, you're not paying Deion. You're not paying Deion little money. You're paying Deion big money. And Deion know what he doing. Stop thinking this thing with Deion is just Jerry. No, this is Deion. What's going on, Janie? What's going on, Niecy? Real fan one, I'm going to say it again. You can tell me anything you want to about Shan Bailey, Dave Campo, Gase, Saleh, and Hackett. You can tell me anything you want to. But if you and anyone else is telling me that Mike McCarthy, with that stale as toast, West Coast offense, poor situational football, if you're telling me 13 seasons with Aaron Rodgers, 1 Super Bowl, Mike McCarthy. If you're telling me who got fired in week 13 when he got fired from the Green Bay Packers because they were continuing to decline, if you're telling me he's the best we can do, we're doomed. We're doomed. We were doomed with him and we're doomed without him. There is no universe where Mike McCarthy is the best option. There is no universe. He wasn't the best option when they got him. There's no universe. And truth be told, he hasn't done much better than Jason Garrett. Makes me wonder. Jason Garrett had 188 season. Maybe Jerry should have kept him. So what? 10 years. He had 5 winning seasons? Maybe you should have kept him. Kept on building. You brought in Mike McCarthy. Same result. There's got to be, because we know they're not changing out the GM. So we got to get somebody. We got to get somebody who can, in spite of Jerry Jones, can still win. And we're going to get to this Bobby Belt thing. I'm going to give you my thoughts on something. We're going to get this Bobby Belt thing, but I want to read some of your comments. Yeah, Tom Landry, Roger Staubach, great marriage, Troy Aikman, Jimmy Johnson. And watch this. You know what's so funny about Troy Aikman and Jimmy Johnson? I said this before. Mike Fisher verified it today. When you get a person like Jimmy Johnson, you actually don't like Jimmy Johnson. You like Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy walk in the building and you like him. There's nothing threatening about Mike McCarthy. Big old teddy bear. I bet he can be one of the best friends you could ever have. Father figure, give you advice on stuff going on in your life. I bet you that's Mike. There's nothing threatening about him. Jimmy was different. Troy didn't like Jimmy. I bet you nobody liked Jimmy in the beginning. They didn't like Jimmy. Jimmy came in the building and said, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong. We're changing that, we're changing that, we're changing that. You're gone, you're gone, you're gone. They hated him. I guarantee you they hated him. But you know what happened? He earned their respect by winning. Accountability. He changed the mentality of the franchise. He did. He changed the mentality of the franchise. We don't understand there was a 14-year hiatus for the Cowboys as it pertains to winning the Super Bowl when Jerry bought the team. And Landry was an old dinosaur. And I'm not saying it in a bad way. Man, Landry had been doing that way too long. And the game was changing. Landry couldn't continue at his age to do all the things he was doing. Landry was literally wearing all the hats on the team. The game was changing. Jerry came in And Jerry is the one who took this thing he took it to the next level. He bought the Dallas Cowboys. We don't like how he ousted Tom Landry. Nobody likes it. Tom Landry should have went out on top. I mean, they should have had a celebration. I mean, they should have did all kinds of things with Tom Landry. They fumbled the ball on that. They tried to come back and fix it later, but it was too late. But I'm telling us, man, it's a different era now. And when we're looking at Jerry, I mean, what we're looking at with Jerry is nothing that we haven't seen before. We got to find a coach that can, in spite of Jerry, and that's going to be the challenge. Nisi, you hit it right on the head. Those teams are about football and not individual brands. Because you think about it, that 90s Cowboys team had been in this era with social media. Man, you want to talk about building some brands. Man, they were winning. They could have did all kinds of things. This new era is about building brands, and this is something we got to get out of the building. I don't know how we do it, but we got to get it out of the building. Cowboys will not win another Super Bowl than Jerry Jones. Well, I can tell you this, P-Funk. He said he asked God if he gave him one more, he wouldn't ask for another one. Be careful when you make deals. If Dak Prescott does it with Jimmy's and Joe's, man, let me tell you something. If Dak wins in this era, it's incredible. Dallas Sports 77, he said, those are the facts. 100% money in the bag if Dak wins the Lombardi Trophy. Oh, man. I mean, I don't think people understand. And this is one of the reasons why I like Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott could have walked away from this and still got $60 million somewhere. She still could have got it. There would have been a team out there that would have paid Dak Prescott what he's making. But Dak Prescott wants to do it here because he knows what it means here. P-Funk, I think about you every time I see your name. I think about you when you say this because my son be saying the same thing. Read NFL, football entertainment. Man, my son says the same things. The same things. Let me go to this. Thing about. Let me give you my thoughts on Mike McCarthy. Then I'm gonna go to Bobby Belt. I was thinking today, why would Jerry Jones? And this is going to lead us right into Bobby Belt. I was thinking about this today. Why would Jerry Jones be so mad at Mike McCarthy? Y'all might not realize it, but Jerry Jones and Mike McCarthy were at war. Nisi, we've talked about this. Jay Recruiter, we've talked about this. They were at war. And you know what they were at war about? I want y'all to imagine this. Jerry Jones liked Kellen Moore. This is why Kellen Moore's name keeps coming up. Jerry Jones likes Kellen Moore. He does. Jerry, some say he was grooming Kellen Moore to be the head coach of the team. I think Jerry wanted Dan Quinn more. But Jerry loved him some Kellen Moore. He does, he did, and he does. Bobby Belt is going to let us in on something. And this is why I'm going to create a little series about the dark side of Mike McCarthy. See, a lot of us are talking about Mike McCarthy, but I'm going to tell you something about Mike McCarthy with the Cowboys. Some of this junk that y'all are blaming on Jerry Jones, and we know there is enough blame for Jerry Jones. Let us count the ways. Some of this junk y'all have been blaming on Jerry Jones, even me, I'm going to take ownership. Some of the things that I thought were Jerry Jones, it was Mike McCarthy. I don't know if y'all listened to the Bobby Belt interview, but I'm going to let you, man, I'm going to blow your mind with this Bobby Belt interview. Some of this junk we thought was Jerry Jones. It was Mike McCarthy. Jerry Jones is mad at Mike McCarthy because I want you to think about this for a second. Jerry didn't want to get rid of Kellen Moore, and everyone was saying it when he got rid of Kellen Moore. But you know who forced Jerry Jones to get rid of Kellen Moore? Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy, y'all, this nice teddy bear, is a shrewd operator too. Y'all remember what he did in the media? When they lost that game to the San Francisco 49ers, what did he say? I want to run the ball. You know what's funny? Anybody who really knew Mike McCarthy should have right then went, oh, man, Mike McCarthy's lying. This has been one of the things that people even talked about in Green Bay. He didn't want to run the ball. He didn't. He didn't want to run the ball. It's not that the running backs that he had up under him couldn't have been successful, including Eddie Lacy. No, he didn't want to run the ball because the West Coast, it is basically a run game. The short passes take the place of the run game. Mike McCarthy beat Jerry at his own game. He put it out in the media. Watch this. Kellen Moore is the reason why we lost. Kellen Moore, like, what I do? You refuse to run the ball. And I want to run the ball. He was saying, without saying it, I want to call plays. But when I came here, if y'all remember, Jerry told Mike McCarthy, by the way, we're going to hire you as the coach. Kellen Moore is going to be the OC. Do y'all think that Mike McCarthy liked that? See, we're not thinking about these facts. Do you think Mike McCarthy liked the fact that Kellen Moore was the play caller when he's a play calling head coach? He didn't like it. And when he got the opportunity, he forced the hand of Jerry Jones. And they forced Kellen Moore out the door. He forced him out. He forced Jerry's hand because if Jerry would have kept Kellen Moore, everybody would have been saying it's, which some people already do say. But you have to understand something. As I said before, in this social media era, if you float something out and it sticks especially, and then the media grabs a hold of it, then the media starts saying that stuff, and then the media jumps on the bandwagon. Oh, okay. You want to know why Jerry's mad? Okay, Mike, I got you. So you put a checkmate on me on this one. Okay, I got you. But let me tell you this. I'm going to let Kellen Moore walk out the door. You got me. But you better do more than Kellen Moore. Y'all do realize this, right? Y'all do realize the playoff game that Mike McCarthy has with the Dallas Cowboys. Y'all do realize that playoff win didn't come with Mike McCarthy calling the plays. Y'all do know that, right? That playoff win did not come with Mike McCarthy calling the plays. That playoff win came with Kellen Moore calling the plays. And that game was masterful. He called against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It was masterful. I still do not understand how they came back the next week against the San Francisco 49ers and it looked like a totally different team. And one of the reasons I think it looked like a totally different team is that the San Francisco 49ers were in the Dallas Cowboys' head. They looked different against Tampa Bay. They came up against Tampa Bay on the road like, hey, we can beat y'all, no problem. Even with Tom Brady, smackdown, bam, bam, bam. They get to San Francisco and they were playing like, hey, man, we're expecting to lose. They were playing like a little kid when the bully say, "Hey, you better not come to school tomorrow. If you do, I'm gonna beat you up." They basically came in the game like that little kid who knowing that the bully can beat them up. And Mike McCarthy doesn't have the mentality when he's coming against a team like that to say, we're better than them, even though it would have been a lie. I mean, the San Francisco 49ers just had a better team. And when you come to a game like that, what's going to really help you win, because sometimes you can beat a better team if you got a bigger heart. If you got a bigger heart and a better game plan. But this is one of the issues with Mike McCarthy. Doesn't prepare the teams well. And he definitely can't seem to prepare them well to beat the big games, the big teams. So think about this. You let Kellen Moore go. Y'all do know these 12-win seasons. Y'all do know that we're crediting these to Mike McCarthy, but the play caller, if I'm not mistaken, in 2 of those 12-win seasons is none other than, no, in one of those 12-win seasons, I'm sorry, it is Kellen Moore. Wait a minute, hold on a second. I think it's 2. In 2 of those 12-win seasons, it's Kellen Moore that's the play caller. Mike McCarthy took over the play calling last year. That was the 3rd. That was the 3rd one. So you think about in the second 12-win season, that's the Tampa Bay one, right? That's the Tampa Bay playoff win. We lost to the 49ers. So then we come to the 3rd 12-win season. Now, I want you to think about when we get to the 3rd. Watch this. Let me give you some more game. In the 3rd 12-win season, Mike McCarthy has already admitted as much. He's already admitted it. Those were not his plays. That's the Kellen Moore. That's the Kellen Moore modified playbook. That's the Texas Coast. That's why the Texas Coast bit the dust this year. Because Mike said he wished he would have did it his way from the beginning. I'm glad he didn't. Because now we get to see how it looked when he did it his way this year. Mike did it his way this year. Look how it looked. So I want you to put this all in your mind. That Jerry Jones, because Mike is selling Jerry Jones on something, whether y'all accept it or not. Mike McCarthy is selling Jerry Jones on something. Hey, if I take over the play calling, I'll get us better than Kellen Moore. He has to be telling them that. Do y'all realize that when Kellen Moore is the OC of one Dak Prescott, it is inarguable. Go check the facts. Best offense in football. Kellen Moore, Dak Prescott. Go check the books. Best offense in football. Period. In the story. Best offense in football. Dak Prescott and Kellen Moore tearing it up. Tearing it up. So if I'm Mike McCarthy and I tell Jerry, get rid of Kellen Moore, let me call the plays. So you saying that I get to do less than Kellen Moore? Man, you better exceed Kellen Moore if I fire Kellen Moore. You better exceed Kellen Moore. Did Mike McCarthy exceed Kellen Moore? No, Dak Prescott exceeded Kellen Moore, as in Dak Prescott showed. It don't matter who you make as the OC. I'm still going to be me. I'm still going to get 12 wins. I'm still going to be me. And even in the losses, Dak balled out in some of those losses and still lost. Some mistake happens on defense. Some mistake happens somewhere. Dak gets the credit for the loss just like he gets the credit for the wins. That's what it is in the NFL with quarterbacks. So I want y'all to think about this. You wouldn't be mad? I had to really think about this because I'm like, why would Jerry Jones be this mad? Why would he get so mad? He says, I'm blowing it up. Why would you blow it up? I mean, it's like you're on the cusp of success, Jerry. Why would you blow it up? Jerry was flat out mad at Mike McCarthy, and I'm telling you, he was. So you convinced me to let go of Kellen Moore, who got us at least a playoff win last year. You're telling me you're going to be better than Kellen Moore. I didn't give Kellen Moore a whole lot either. I didn't give Kellen Moore a whole lot. So you become the play caller. And Jerry's not worried about the fact that he didn't get Bobby Wagner. He's not worried about the facts he didn't get linebackers. He's not worried about the facts that he didn't get another wide receiver. We can admit all of that. But I'm telling you, I don't know if you've ever been in a situation like this. But when you take someone's spot and you get promoted, I've been in this position when I worked in the corporate management world. When you come in, they don't care what the circumstances are. They want it to be better. They want it to be better that when they give you the position, it don't matter what that person did. It don't matter what they had or what they didn't have. When they put you in that position, they expect you to be better. So the question is, was Mike McCarthy better than Kellen Moore? Because I hear everybody crying about we don't want Kellen Moore because he's not a head coach. But we're saying that Mike McCarthy didn't get to do it his way anyway. So it sounds like to me, Jerry really wants someone to be more of a figurehead and someone who just runs his offense. Because if you think about what Jerry does, Jerry kind of creates two teams on one team. The head coach doesn't get to pick his coordinator. He doesn't get to pick the head coach. He doesn't get to pick the defensive coordinator. He doesn't really get to pick the offensive coordinator. Mike McCarthy came in and Jerry said, by the way, Kellen Moore is going to be the offensive coordinator. So y'all tell me. We're talking about Jerry is a shrewd operator. You tell me. You're a play caller. You're Mike McCarthy. Why did you take the job? You were behind the 8 ball the moment you took the job. Why'd you take it then? Why did you take it? You were not the play caller. You're a play calling head coach. Why did you take the job? Somewhere in there, I'm sure Mike McCarthy had a plan. I'm eventually going to call plays here. So how was he going to do it? Do y'all know how insane this is? Y'all think it's insane. Y'all literally think it's insane. Some people think it's insane that they let go of Mike McCarthy with 3 12-win seasons. You want to know what's more insane? When you think about it, they let go of an offensive coordinator who tore the league up with the quarterback. And he got 2 12-win seasons in a row. And he got a playoff win against Tom Brady. And he got fired the same season. And we didn't think that was crazy. Y'all got to help me out how we think, man. Y'all got to help me out with how we think. We got folk talking about it's crazy with Mike McCarthy. But it's not crazy with Kellen Moore. What did Kellen Moore do wrong? In the grand scheme of things, what did Kellen Moore do wrong? Get beat by the San Francisco 49ers who was better than us? What did he do wrong? He got beat, right? So we're not supposed to be even more mad at Mike McCarthy, who couldn't even do what Kellen Moore did other than Dak Prescott getting an runner-up MVP and second team All-Pro. That wasn't the goal of this team. The goal of this team wasn't Dak Prescott's accolades. The goal of this team, and y'all think about how we talked about this. Oh, man. McCarthy did way better. He did way better with Dak Prescott than Kellen Moore did. We're going to go back and do some fact checking on that. Kellen Moore got 1 playoff win. So do you take the playoff win or do you take the All-Pro and the runner-up MVP? Which one would y'all rather have? I'm just saying. You want to know why Jerry was mad at Mike McCarthy and threw a temper tantrum and decided to blow up the whole team, let Mike McCarthy ride on his last year of his deal? Watch this. I promise y'all. Prove me wrong. And you probably can't prove me wrong. Because I'm at this point, this is speculation. but it's speculation based on fact. Y'all might not realize this, but Jerry Jones actually told y'all the same story, but in a different way. Jerry Jones said, let's just say, for instance, you come to me and you say you want X amount of dollars. And I tell you, I'm going to pay you X amount of dollars. And I'm not going to pay you a penny more. But if you go to the playoffs and you win, I'll pay you more. And you go to the Super Bowl and win, I'll pay you 5 times more than what you asked for. So let me get this straight, what you just said, Jerry. Mike McCarthy, whatever it is that he wants, we don't even know all this stuff. So Mike McCarthy took over the play calling for Kellen Moore. He's now in the contract season. Jerry didn't extend him, but how much you bet? He just told us the whole story. If Mike McCarthy would have beat the Green Bay Packers, if Mike McCarthy would have won the game after that, if Mike McCarthy gets this team to the NFC Championship game, this isn't even a conversation. Jerry just told you the story of Mike McCarthy, and we don't even realize it. He just told us the story of Mike McCarthy. He didn't do it. And that's the bottom line, whether any of us want to accept it or not. He didn't do it. Mike McCarthy actually didn't do better than Kellen Moore. He didn't. He didn't do better than Kellen Moore. And I'll be honest with you. I'm not saying I want Kellen Moore as a coach. Kellen Moore's a better play caller than Mike McCarthy. He is. He's a better play caller than Mike McCarthy. It can't even be argued. He's a better play caller than Mike McCarthy. Dak Prescott and Kellen Moore tore the league up. Now, Dak Prescott continued to tear the league up in 2022. In 2023 with my years. We're in 2025. But, last year, Dak still tore the league up. Kellen Moore struggled ever since. Now he's back. He's back in the game. What he's doing with the Philadelphia Eagles. But hey, they got a great team around Jalen Hurts. And he's not putting up the video game banana numbers like he did with Dak Prescott. He got Saquon Barkley. But I ain't mad at him. I ain't mad at him as Eddie Murphy said in Norbert. Hey, I ain't mad at him. But I'm telling us, and this is going to lead us into this Bobby Belt story. Because now this stuff is all starting to make sense to me. Jerry Jones blew this doggone thing up because he's mad at Mike McCarthy. That's why he blew this thing up. He's not just mad they lost the game to Green Bay. Jerry is mad at Mike McCarthy. You basically told me you wanted to run the ball. If we got rid of Kellen Moore, you were going to do more than Kellen Moore. You didn't. Mike McCarthy didn't do more than Kellen Moore. The injuries came this year, not last year. We had some injuries last year, but not like this year. He matched Kellen Moore with 12 wins. But what he didn't do, and you could almost argue this, almost. I think Green Bay may have been better than Tampa Bay. But the only reason why I would give the edge to Tampa Bay is because this is Tom Brady Tampa Bay. But that Tampa Bay at that point in time, we're not going to sit up here and make up lies. That Tampa Bay at that time, it's not like they were world beaters like they were with Antonio Brown when they won that Super Bowl. They were not that same team. But nevertheless, they were never even in the game, man. Kellen Moore and Dak Prescott knocked them out the box. Scored on almost every drive, knocked them out the box, almost flawless. He wins in the first round against Tom Brady. We lose last year in the first round. Man, the memes going on now about Jordan Love. Boy, They are destroying this man. I want y'all to think about this. How mad do you think Jerry Jones is that Mike McCarthy has proven in his tenure he can't even beat his old team? You can't even beat your old team? And then we come up against your old team in the playoff? Y'all don't think... I'm telling y'all, I clearly understand why Jerry did this stupid thing he did by blowing up a team that he actually should have tried with every ounce of energy in his body. He should have tried to bring that same team back and just add a couple of players to it. Jerry said, oh, no, heck no. I'm blowing it up. I'm going to put Mike McCarthy on a prove-it deal. Wait a minute. The tolerance of ambiguity. If you listen to Jerry, he explained everything he's doing with Mike McCarthy. I'm telling y'all, with Jerry Jones, you have to sit down and think and analyze all this junk that he says. But if you'll analyze it right, Jerry Jones has been telling you everything all along. Jerry talks very cryptic. He's been telling us this stuff all along. Jerry Jones is furious, absolutely furious with Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy get this team to the NFC Championship game. We don't even have this conversation. We're not having this conversation, y'all. Mike McCarthy gets that extension. He gets an extension. He might not get 5. Jerry probably extends him immediately 3-4 years. Immediately extends him. Jerry said, heck no, I'm not doing it. You're going to do more with less, Joker, or you're going to get up out of here. Jerry going to do more for the next coach. He going to do more for the next coach in the first 2 years than he did for Mike McCarthy. Watch what I tell you. You watch what I tell you. Let me read some of your comments. There's a lot of them in here. I won't be able to get to all of them. Let me read some of them. Tony Brown. Tony Brown said he didn't use anyone the right way. Yes, sir. I'm with you. Playmaker, Trent Dilfer and Brad Johnson were in the West Coast offense, and they weren't great quarterbacks, so that's a lie. That's a lie, Marlon. And you think about this. Hold on. Trent Dilfer and Brad Johnson. Go back and look at those defenses. Go back and look at those defenses. Go back and look and see how those teams won those games. Defenses win championships. Nisi, Mike allowed the money to get hurt. You got that part right, too. He allowed the money to get hurt. He did. Royal Sports says it's more about the back and the center and the guards to run a good West Coast game. Man, when you look at the West Coast games that Bill Walsh ran, you know the part that Mike McCarthy does not understand about the West Coast offense? It actually does require use of the running back. Go back and look at Roger Craig. Go back and look at Ricky Waters. Anybody remember those two running backs? Where No Cap at? I bet you No Cap can tell you about Ricky Waters. I bet you No Cap can tell you about Roger Craig. Any of us Dallas Cowboy fans can tell you about Ricky Waters and Roger Craig because we remember playing against them. When you run the West Coast offense, it still requires you to have a good running back and a running game. The running back in the West Coast offense, if he's good, versatile, he can open it up even more. But the other part of this is, too, Bill Walsh is still, Mike McCarthy isn't in the same conversation or breath as Bill Walsh running the West Coast offense. He's not in the same breath. 70s fan, what's going on, man? Needs to say the laziest GM in football history. You right on it. What's going on, Alex? Janie Scott, that's all that Jerry Jones does is make plans at a time. One plan for everything. He probably doesn't get much sleep. Janie, Folk do not understand. Jerry got plans. And I'm laughing at folks talking about, yeah, Jerry probably, man, Jerry already had the plan for this. Jerry had this plan at the beginning of the season. I don't really think Jerry, while he wanted Mike to return, I think the conditions that Mike was going to return on, Mike was not going to return on. But if Jerry could get him on them terms, he was going to do it. Because y'all got to understand something. Jerry held all the leverage on Mike McCarthy. Every last bit of it. I would have destroyed Mike McCarthy when I sat down at the table with him. I wouldn't have destroyed him based on this season. See, y'all keep talking about this season. This is not the season I'm destroying him on. The season I'm destroying him on, and I can give y'all some leeway on this. I can understand where a lot of people are coming from on this part. Then why bring him back? If this is how we felt with the Green Bay game, why bring him back? But you better understand how Jerry Jones thinks. The one thing that Jerry and Stephen Jones do not like to do is it applies to coaches. They do not like to pay coaches that are not coaching. They do not like to do it. They don't want, and this is why Deion Sanders, I'm just laughing at folk. Jerry is not paying Deion Sanders. He's not buying Deion Sanders' deal out for $8 million and then come back and pay him another $13 or $14 million. Man, Jerry said, you better miss me. Jerry is not going to pay. And all this Sarkisian talk, man, I'm thinking the Sarkisian buyout is insane. I would be double shocked if Jerry even thought about buying out Sarkisian. That Jerry ain't doing stuff like that. All this Deion stuff, man, you better understand something. Jerry loves him some Deion Sanders. Jerry does not mind letting Deion Sanders use him to get more money from Colorado or some other team. Jerry does not mind letting Deion do that. Jerry love him some Deion Sanders. Love him some Deion Sanders. So don't get fooled by all this stuff. Jabber, this is it. This is it. We're trying to win a Super Bowl, not a showcase of entertainment. And that's another reason why I'm telling y'all, man, Deion ain't coming here. Deion wants the wins with the show. You ever notice how Deion acts when he loses? Deion is trying to teach his own team. Oh, yeah, I want the show. Y'all want the rap concerts in the locker room after the game? Got them. Y'all want the superstars on the field? Y'all want the ex-football players, Hall of Famers, movie stars, all of it. Sidelines? Got it. Y'all want a party after the game? Got it. But you got to win. You got to win to get this stuff. You got to learn how to win and still have this stuff. Because that's what Deion comes from. He was winning and partying, especially when they got to the Cowboys. Man, rumor has it at that White House over here in Dallas. Where Jay Recruit at? That White House over here in Dallas. that White House over here in Dallas. Man, they said Jerry Jones was up in the party. Man, they said Jerry Jones was up in the White House too. Now, Jerry got a plan, Willie T. Unequivocally, Jerry has a plan. The Mike McCarthy thing, no, he got a plan this time. Jerry got a plan. I promise you, Jerry got a plan. Jerry had a plan from the moment Mike McCarthy lost that game against Green Bay. And I know he had a plan. You know how I know he had a plan? He told us. He put everybody on one-year deals. He left them on the last year of their contract. That's not an accident, Willie T. That's a plan. I'm going to create a sense of urgency. That's a plan. Dak Prescott told us the plan in the interview with Troy Aikman. Troy Aikman says, Dak, what do you think Jerry meant when he said about going all in? Dak lied and then told the truth. Well, I really don't know what Jerry meant. But what I think Jerry meant, hold on, what do you mean? What do you mean you think what Jerry meant? He's going in on all the young players that we have. Players that have been behind, players that didn't get the opportunity to play. Now they're going to get their opportunity to play. I think Jerry was going in on all of our players that's been here, our young players. That's strange, Dak Prescott, because that's exactly what the plan was. It's strange you said that because that's exactly what the plan was. And just like Mike McCarthy, Jerry knew it was going to probably come to this. So you don't think Jerry has a plan and he don't do anything for Mike McCarthy. I mean, not only does he not do anything for him, he actually strips him. Jerry stripped Mike McCarthy down. You don't think he had a plan? You can have your own opinion on this, but I'm telling you the facts. Jerry had a plan, and Jerry has a plan. And a lot of people are actually saying, I'm not sure I'm sold on this, but a lot of people are saying that the plan is Kellen Moore. And if you think about the story that I told you, just from my own thought process of things Jerry has been saying, looking at the fact, how does Mike McCarthy run Kellen Moore out? I know none of us have thought of this. We're giving Mike McCarthy all the credit for the 12-win seasons. We give Dak all kinds of hell for the 12-win seasons. Then we don't understand that in the middle of those 12-win seasons, we also got Kellen Moore, who's the offensive coordinator. Him and Dak Prescott are putting up video game numbers. And in those two 12-win seasons, they win a playoff game. We're giving that playoff game to Mike McCarthy, aren't we? What was he doing? He was head coaching, right? He was head coaching. Okay, I'll give it to you. He was head coaching, but he wasn't calling the plays. So if he's going to call the plays, then he must going to do better than the play caller that he just ran out of town. I'm telling you why this is all happening. Jerry's been telling us this whole story. We just hadn't been listening. Jerry was furious. I'm telling you, it'll come out maybe in a year or two. Jerry was furious. And Mike Fisher's already said as much. Jerry was furious at Mike McCarthy. Yeah, Brian Broaddus, yeah, I think he does too. But I think Jerry got a plan. Him and Steven, I think they got a plan. Winning a Super Bowl doesn't make you a great coach. Yeah, I agree with you. Especially if you got great players. But at the same time, and we already got the evidence of that on this team. Barry Switzer was a great coach in college. Barry Switzer was a placeholder in Dallas. Jimmy Johnson's team was on cruise control. This is why Barry Switzer could never come back to the NFL talking about, hey, man, hire me. I got one Super Bowl. Get out of here. Man, people would run Barry Switzer out of town if Barry Switzer tried to say that. Nietzsche said, leaned over and whispered, we found our guy to let you add your plays and you see he won't fight back. Man, let me tell you something. Willie T. But that's the point. See, y'all gotta hear what I'm telling you. Deion don't want the soap opera. I'm trying to explain to us Deion Sanders' psyche. This man is built different. Deion Sanders is built like one of these guys like Muhammad Ali. Anybody who ever watched Muhammad Ali, boy, Muhammad Ali would be bragging about what he, man, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. I mean, Muhammad Ali just bragged and bragged and bragged. But then I used to always like think about Muhammad Ali like, how can you call it bragging when you're telling the truth? If Mike Tyson in his heyday said he was going to knock somebody out, I mean, is it bragging? Is it bragging when Mike Tyson in his heyday, hey, I'm going to knock you out, man. I'm going to break your nose. I'm going to knock your teeth out. I'm going to knock you out in the second round. Is it bragging? Deion Sanders is not like Jerry Jones. Deion got the money. Deion got the clout. Deion has the fame. But in Deion's mind, it's all built and predicated upon winning. How do you brag if you're losing? Deion don't want to brag on the money. He got the money. He explained this to Shannon Sharp and Ocho Cinco when they were talking about, nah, man, you'll go to Dallas if they pay you the amount of money. Deion said, you don't understand. They said, because you made a song called Must Be the Money. Deion said, you must not understand what that song is about. He said, that song is not about me and the money. That song is about people and the money. They tripping on the money I'm getting. That's what Deion is saying, because with what he does, the money comes with it. Man, Deion always got money, always has got money, because he's that talented. He's won on almost every level. This is Deion bleeping Sanders. He don't want to come to Dallas and be a part of the soap opera. If Deion come to Dallas, it's like I said from the beginning, the only way Deion comes here is the same reason he came here in 94, 95. Or basically the 95 season. He's only coming here to win Super Bowls. Deion don't need this soap opera. That's the part people miss about Deion. He don't need this soap opera. What he need it for? He already got that in Colorado. People are looking for every reason to doubt Deion Sanders. He gets better and better and better every year. But Deion understands. Deion understands. When you're him, the bigger the target. Because there are huge expectations on Deion Sanders. A lot of people expect him to fail. He's succeeded so far. He keeps climbing up. But Deion understands something. What the Colorado Buffaloes did this year is not enough. He knows he's got to get in that college playoffs. And he's got to win the big one. Deion knows this. And his ultimate goal, I don't even think it's going to be the NFL when he makes his next step, unless some team does wind up getting Shador and Shiloh. I think that Deion Sanders' next big step is going to be getting to a bigger college program. I would love to see what Deion Sanders could do with a big program like an Ohio State, a Michigan, a USC, a Texas, one of those kinds of programs. Man, y'all better understand something about Deion Sanders. I know a lot of people don't like the glam and the glitz, but you have to understand what that's predicated on with Deion. Winning. Winning. Deion wants to win. He don't need this stuff in Dallas. He ain't coming here for this stuff. He don't want to come here for this stuff. Deion wants to win, man. Winners want to win. That's what folk don't understand about winners. We'll move forward. I'm going to let y'all hear something that Bobby Belt's about to say. Boy. Bobby Belt. I know there are some biases there. I'm taking that into account too. But Bobby Belt is about to say something. He's got my spidey senses tingling. And Bobby Belt said he bringing receipt. He said he bringing BRANGIN. He bringing receipts. Bobby been sitting on this stuff. And Bobby been sitting on this stuff, and I think he hadn't been wanting to say anything because he covers the Cowboys, and he didn't want to bring this negative part to everything that's going on. Bobby about to drop bombs on Mike McCarthy. Let me cue this up real quick. Y'all hold on. Y'all know, as the young folks say, let them cook. Bobby Belt is about to cook. And Bobby Belt, when he brings these receipts, Bobby Belt is about to cook Mike McCarthy. Bobby Belt is going to cook Mike McCarthy. And I'm sorry. I mean, I know he has some biases against Mike McCarthy. I want to hear everything he has to say, so I want to analyze it with my own mind so I can look at the facts, look at the stats and all these other things so I can connect the dots on, is this just based on his bias or are these things true? Let me let you hear what Bobby Belt's about to say. This man's about to cook Mike McCarthy in the next few days.
Oh, well, it's great. Show me the evidence of that, because that's not what happened. In fact, Thursday when I'm back, I don't know when you want to do this, Sean, but we'll get into
that. Garrett, Coryell, Linehan, just run some curl routes out there kind of offense.
So I think Garrett. So he's definitely more single back Linehan thought process typically. When he and when Kellen and Dak were together, whenever they were on the field together, that 2019 to 2022, there was no better offense in the NFL from scoring. They put up more points than Kansas City did during those stretches. Now, there were times, obviously, where Dak went out, long stretch in 2020. But if you just take, all right, give me the 2019 season, the first 5 weeks of 2020, give me 21, 22, and you combine those years up, during those stretches where Dak was actively playing with Kellen Moore, nobody scored more points than Dallas.
So again, you convince the owner, take Mike McCarthy out of the equation, take the name Kellen Moore out of the equation. So you have the unmitigated gall to run the OC out of town, who has scored more points with your quarterback than any team in the NFL in 3 seasons. He wins a playoff game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with Tom Brady. Let me tell y'all something. Tell me I'm lying. Tell me I'm lying. Nisi, I'd like for you to comment on this. If that's any other quarterback, imagine this. What do y'all think happens if Justin Herbert knocks Tom Brady out of the playoffs? What do y'all think happens if Justin Herbert knocks Tom Brady's team out of the playoffs? I don't care what team he's playing on. He knocks them out of the playoffs, 30-14, scores on almost every drive, 40-something yards rushing, almost 300 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns through the air, 1 touchdown on the ground. You tell me, what do you think they're saying about Justin Herbert? What do you think they're saying about Trevor Lawrence if he does the same thing? What do you think they're saying? Justin Herbert and Trevor Lawrence will still be riding that game. I don't care how many playoff losses they would have after that. They would still be riding that game. People would still be talking about that game. You ever notice? No one talks about that game. Come back the next week. San Francisco 49ers, who was a better team, bar none. You can argue it all you want to. They were better. They were better that year. But watch this. Your running back breaks his leg in the first half of the game. All of a sudden, someone, and it was stated, someone who was going to be a major part of the game plan breaks his leg. And we know at this point in time, you don't have another running back that's anywhere as good as Tony Pollard. So what do you do? What do you do? You're talking about an injury excuse, right? Because we're giving Mike McCarthy, especially this year, these injury excuses. So now one of the main cogs in the machine is broken. It's one thing if that cog is broken 2 to 3 weeks before the game. The cog is broken in the game. How do you make that adjustment when you're going against a team like the San Francisco 49ers who are actually that good? What do? See, once we get all the vitriol out of our system, And then we can go back and look at things with a level head. I just wonder, what is our thought process now? Because in the grand scheme of things, you got to ask your own self. You convinced the owner to get rid of the OC who just beat the 49. Who just beat Tampa Bay. Lost by 7 points to the 49ers. I think the game was 12-19? If I got that season right, I'm thinking it's 12-19 that year. So you're telling me that if you convince me to get rid of that OC and then you come back the next season, hook or crook, and you don't do better, and you don't think I'm going to be mad? Hell hath no fury. And this is where I will agree with some of you all. I could see where you're coming from. Why didn't he just let him go? Well, I gave you the reason. Jerry and Steven are cheap. Jerry and Steven do not believe in paying coaches that are not coaching. They don't. I'm telling you, Jerry and Steven are different. Jerry and Steven will literally throw away 2 seasons before they will let you sit on the couch and get paid. Why do you think Jerry said, I wish I wouldn't have did what I did with Wade Phillips? Because Jerry, Wade was not going to turn that season around. But also he didn't want to pay him sitting on the couch. They don't believe in that. They don't believe in that when it comes to coaches. I'm telling us. What's going on, Reggie Moses? Appreciate you. I'm telling us. See, the things that I'm saying, I'm not saying these things based on conjecture. I'm saying these things because I'm looking at all these facts. And sometimes because Jerry is so crazy and some of the things he does so many stupid things that you just lump everything Jerry does into the stupid poo-poo pile. But then once you start thinking, you have to go back and say, okay, hold on a second. Let me get my shovel. Let me go dig through all the poo-poo because there may be a couple of these things that made sense. So don't let me throw the baby out with the bathwater. Let me go and dig some of this stuff back out and see maybe where it could be coming from. So you got to ask yourself, Bobby Belt just dropped a dime. What Bobby Belt said, whether he hates Mike McCarthy or not, undeniable facts. Undeniable facts. And what I've told you, as it pertains to, if you look at what Kellen Moore did, we're giving Mike McCarthy credit for 3 12-win seasons when 2 of those 12-win seasons are none other than Kellen Moore coaching the team or he's the offense coordinator. The playoff win that Mike McCarthy has, that's up under Kellen Moore too. And then when you get the play calling, you lose in the first round of the wild card, and you set some weird record, getting beat by the lowest seed, being I guess the highest seed or something. It's crazy. It's crazy. You're the number 2 seed getting beat by the 7th. That was supposed to be a practice. Even though it was a bad matchup. We couldn't stop the run. We couldn't run the ball. But a part of that, I can remember it like yesterday. People were talking about the play calling during that game too. People were talking about the play calling. They were talking about how the team didn't look prepared. They were talking about how the team looked like a deer in the headlights. The whole team. I know that's all the players, though. Coaches don't have nothing to do with that. Bobby Belt is dropping dimes. You ain't heard the bombs yet. These are the 3 issues that I'm going to be following that Bobby Belt mentions next. Listen to this. This is insane.
And so they've shown that they know how to work together. they went back to a lot of those concepts last year. I did listen at 7:00. I did hear whoever called in and said, no, that's not the case at all. Well, it's great. Show me the evidence of that. Cause
Bobby is saying something that I told y'all already this week. Hadn't even heard Bobby Belt talk about this. Bobby Belt is saying the same thing I said. Mike McCarthy indicted himself. He indicted himself. Do y'all know the Green Bay season with the Texas Coast? That's a modified Kellen Moore concept. That's Kellen Moore. And he said it. I did it my first season too. I mean, for the sake of Dak, I kept a lot of the language the same and did some of the same things. And really? Because I also remember that being said. The Texas Coast was really Mike McCarthy using Kellen Moore's system with a little West Coast twist. But did y'all notice the more he twisted that West Coast, the worse it was? And then after week 6, what happened? Mike McCarthy threw his whole playbook in the trash. Look what happened. They took off. They took off when he threw his whole playbook in the trash. They took off. Problem is, Jerry has to take some responsibility. Couldn't run the ball. Couldn't stop the run. Now, we think about what happened also last year. Rico Dowdle could not stay healthy. Rico Dowdle, throughout his whole career, has had a problem staying healthy. This was his first real healthy season. And so they couldn't even use him then. And Pollard was coming off a broken leg, so you really couldn't run the ball. You only had one wide receiver. Jerry has to own that. He has to own that. They were playing safeties and linebackers. He has to own that. But the part that Jerry's going to push back on. But the team still didn't look ready. The team still didn't look ready. The game plan didn't look right. You have to figure, and if you're giving somebody credit for Super Bowl seasons or a Super Bowl winning coach, then you're hoping that maybe he can make some adjustments once he sees the fact, hold on a second, Green Bay done punched us in the eye, punched us in the nose, punched us in the chest, punched us in the rib. Hold on a second. Let's reel this back. Let us regroup. You can see how CeeDee Lamb is acting. You see that Dak Prescott forces a ball to him. Oh, hold on. Come back. This is one of the reasons why I would rather just have a coach and then an OC. Because when I got my quarterback, hey, man, come over here. Settle your butt down. CeeDee Lamb, come here. No more this immature kid stuff from you. Get open. I'm double teamed. I don't care. Get open. I'm triple teamed. Get open. And if you're not open, be a decoy, shut your mouth, and we'll throw it to you when you're open. We'll work on scheming you open. We'll work on getting you the ball. But at this point in time, Green Bay has a plan, CD. Shut your mouth. We're going to figure this out. We got to figure out an alternative for somebody else to get it to because they are saying they're taking you out of the game. Mike McCarthy has to be smarter than me. He has to be smarter than me. He's not just watching the game. He's in the game. He's got to be smarter than me. But have you ever thought about the fact that Green Bay is in his head too? Because he can't beat them. They're in his head too. He can't beat the team that he came from. He can't beat them. Matt LaFleur is way much more clever than Mike McCarthy. Bobby Bell is going to continue to cook. Listen to this part.
That's not what happened. In fact, Thursday when I'm back, I don't know when you want to do this, Sean, but we'll get into timeline of everything. So we'll get into...
He'll be back Thursday. But listen to the 3 things that he says.
McCarthy's awful relationship with Dak for most of his time here in Dallas. We'll get it.
What did you say, Bobby Belt? Hold on a second. What did you just say, Bobby Belt? Bobby Belt has been holding this stuff in. Bobby Belt has been holding this stuff in. Bobby Belt just said McCarthy had a terrible relationship with Dak Prescott almost his entire tenure. You know what's funny to me? I wonder when the relationship got better. I wonder when the relationship got better, y'all. Let's see. Mike McCarthy here 5 seasons. Kellen Moore is the OC 3 of those seasons. I wonder when the relationship with Dak Prescott and Mike McCarthy turned around. I wonder, could it have been when he actually became the play caller? I just wonder. Bobby Belt dropped a megaton bomb. If you were looking right now based on what Dak Prescott did, he came out and went to bat for Mike McCarthy. And we talked about it, didn't we? Only for Mike McCarthy to spit in Dak Prescott's face and say, well, I got plenty of control. So guess what? I'm about to really drop. Bobby Belt is going to drop a megaton bomb on you on the next part. And I've been saying this for the last 2 to 3 weeks, that if Mike McCarthy said he had control, then doggone it, he gets to take some of the ownership for the problems that we had this year. Not just the injuries. We have not just had an injury problem. And even over the last 5 seasons, the failures in the playoffs. Oh, yeah, we're going to stop blaming all that on Jerry now. We're going to stop blaming all that on Jerry. We're going to stop giving Mike McCarthy all this leeway, talking about, well, Jerry this and Jerry that. Watch this. Bobby Belt is about to let you in on another issue.
Into Mike being the driving force pushing Amari Cooper out and how much that upset players here in the locker.
What? Wait a minute. Stop the press. Bobby Belt. We've been blaming Gerald Jones for getting rid of Amari Cooper. We've been blaming Jerry Jones. Bobby Belt been sitting on this stuff. Bobby Belt been sitting on this stuff. Because y'all better believe Bobby Belt talks to Brian Broaddus. I'm telling you, Broaddus already said that Will McClay don't like when he talks. Why do you think Will McClay don't like when Broaddus talk? Because Broaddus used to work with the Dallas Cowboys, and I guarantee you, because they keep the staff, they keep the same staff, family business. How much you bet? Bobby Belt is not just talking from conjecture or guessing. Bobby Belt is talking facts that he couldn't say while Mike McCarthy was employed here. So Mike McCarthy is responsible for running Amari Cooper out of this off this team. And the next part he says, and the team was upset about it. This is why, as a person in the ministry and you start dealing with marriage counseling, you never listen to the story of the husband only. You never listen to the story of the wife only. You listen to both of those stories. You listen to both of those stories. And then you listen to both of those stories in the same room as you get some things straightened out. You listen to both of those stories in the same room because that's where the truth lies. When you can cross-check everyone and everyone says, okay, you're right about that. Hold on a second. We've been killing Jerry Jones about Amari Cooper. I know I have. Been killing him. And I'm thinking, why would he get rid of Amari Cooper? I'm thinking it's because he didn't want the jab. All kinds of other things. And I don't know what Mike McCarthy's whole issue was. Now I'm believing Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy might not have gotten Aaron Jones. But Mike McCarthy has had more influence on this team than we once thought. And he said as much. And this is one of the reasons why I believe, contrary to what people think, Mike McCarthy wanted to come back here. He wanted to come back here. But guess what? Because he lost to Green Bay, and because he didn't do more with less in this season, sitting down with Jerry Jones, you think he was winning those negotiations? You actually think that shorter years is the only thing in talking 10 hours. They said, I think 10 hours. So you telling me it took Jerry 10 hours to get around to, oh, and by the way, it's thinking about a shorter contract. You believe that? I got a bridge in London to sell you too. Jerry, I guarantee you, they have been talking about some of the very things that Bobby Belt is talking about. And I'm telling you, if I'm Jerry Jones, I'm telling you one of the main things I'm telling Mike McCarthy, you will not be the play caller here again. You will not be the play caller here again. Mike McCarthy's play calling is atrocious. I don't care what anyone says. It's atrocious. The only thing that makes his play calling look halfway decent is when he has somebody that can actually, man, do y'all not realize how many times, not last year in 2023, do y'all not remember how many times Dak Prescott did some of the most amazing things we ever seen him do in his career? Dak Prescott spins out of what we thought was a show enough sack against the Detroit Lions in the end zone, steps up and throws it, and throws a dime to CeeDee Lamb. 96-yard touchdown. CeeDee Lamb walks in the end zone. So you think Mike McCarthy drew that up in the sand? You think that was the play that Mike McCarthy called? Do we not realize last year how many times Dak was doing things with his legs, throwing on the run, making all kinds of crazy throws? Some of the same stuff Aaron Rodgers was doing. But you do know the coach still gets credit for those things. You ever heard the commentators? They always laugh and say, yeah, that's exactly how they drew it up. Yeah, we all know it's an inside joke because it's not how they drew it up. Mike McCarthy. We can continue to kill Jerry Jones, y'all. No problem. We can continue to kill Jerry Jones. No problem. No problem. Continue to kill Jerry Jones because Jerry Jones deserves to be criticized. We can do that if we want to. But you better stop listening to only the story that you're being told. You better start looking at things in a different way and going, hold on. See, one of the things you have to teach people how to do, you have to stop telling, you got to teach people how to just stop coming to the conclusion that they're told. When you want to really know the answer to things, you sit down, you can write it on a piece of paper. I've gotten to the point I can do all this stuff in my mind now. But you can put it on a piece of paper. And we know what you start doing, you start asking why. Why would? And you got to put out of your mind sometimes, because Jerry crazy. Why would they do this? Jerry crazy. Why would they do this? Jerry stupid. No, hold on a second. Why would Jerry do this? And then ask yourself, would I do this? Because when it comes to Mike McCarthy, and I think about what I told you about, my own analyzation, and Bobby Belt is backing up some of this stuff with things that he's saying. So you made me push Kellen Moore out the door. 3 of the most successful years in Dak Prescott's career, including a playoff win that was just insane how it looked. Tony Pollard breaks his leg against San Francisco. So if Tony Pollard doesn't break his leg, maybe the game looks different. Maybe Kellen Moore calls a different game. But you forced me to run him out of town. by putting me on blast in the media. Okay. Tell you what. When I let him go, I bet you this. You better do more than Kellen Moore. Oh, hold on a second. Jerry, get rid of Amari Cooper. Y'all don't think Mike McCarthy had some influence? We better stop blaming everything on Jerry. We better stop saying that Mike McCarthy hadn't been doing some things his way. Dak Prescott gonna learn to shut up when it come to grown men. You can't want more for men than they want for themselves. There are sometimes you just shut your mouth and let things happen however they're going to happen. Because if it's not meant to happen, it's not going to happen. You going to bat for Mike McCarthy. And I'm sure it was probably known that if Bobby Belt knows this, I'm sure now some of this stuff is making sense. How you going to build a team and you don't even like the quarterback and people can see it? I'm very interested to see how is Bobby Belt going to show how he knows this information. But I'm telling you that if Bobby know this, there's no way he's the only one knows this. I guarantee you Bobby ain't telling y'all nothing that was not known already by people like Brian Broaddus, people on the team. You notice what he said? The team was upset. Man, I'm telling y'all, who has not been wondering, is this not one of the most puzzling moves? The Amari Cooper move had to be one of the most insane moves. And we hate on Jerry, but Jerry justified it. Yeah, we saved money. Oh, yeah, we saved money. He justified it. And he really protected Mike McCarthy. But Bobby Belt is saying, that joker gone. You ever notice what people do? You leave somewhere, all the stories start coming out. Don't mean all of them are true. I'm not worried about all the stories. It's the ones that are true that I get concerned with. People going to talk whether you do good or bad. So make sure you do what's right. So that when people start talking, we can verify what receipts, the things that are lies and the things that are truth. Well, Bobby Belt is saying, I'm bringing receipts. I'm bringing receipts. And I'm thinking, what he's saying to me, tell me anything you want to. It makes sense. Because I never understood the Amari Cooper move. I never understood it. It never made sense to me. It's making sense now. And the reason why it's making sense to me now, because Mike McCarthy did the same thing to Kellen Moore. He pushed Kellen Moore out the door. Mike McCarthy is a shrewd operator. Mike McCarthy is a shrewd operator. Y'all keep on, feel sorry for Mike McCarthy. Not me. Not me. I don't feel sorry for him. I'm not feeling sorry for a man making $8 million a year. I'm not feeling sorry for him. I'm not feeling sorry for somebody who wants to be the play caller and he's a terrible play caller. I'm not feeling sorry for him. You ran Kellen Moore out the door. Hook or crook, you didn't do better. You did not do better. People don't understand this. I showed the man didn't do better than Jason Garrett. He didn't do better than Jason Garrett. He only beat Jason Garrett by a few wins. And they both got the same thing, a playoff win. And here we go again. Kellen Moore's out the door. We don't want no parts of Kellen Moore. Don't bring him back. Don't you dare bring back Kellen Moore. He was better than Mike McCarthy. Kellen Moore is a better play caller than Mike McCarthy. And all the stats prove it. The winning proves it. Those 2 12-win seasons. We keep giving them to Mike McCarthy. Can we give them to Kellen Moore too? Stop playing. Stop playing. We can blame Jerry. We're not going to stop blaming Jerry. I keep naming the things that Jerry did wrong. We're not going to stop blaming Jerry. But what we need to stop doing is trying to make Mike McCarthy into the sympathetic figure. I've seen men like Mike McCarthy. I've worked with him before. They're the type of men everybody like. And the moment you say something about them, everybody say, ooh, you hating. Because they put on such a show in front of people. They got this certain demeanor. And when you tell somebody something they're doing, I bet people are doing the same thing to Bobby Bell. He don't like Mike McCarthy though. But you can't dispute none of the facts. When Kellen Moore was the OC, they were better. Hands down in the story. They were better offensively. They were better. Mike McCarthy actually has not done better than Kellen Moore. He hasn't. That's the facts. He hasn't. He has not done better than Kellen Moore. And now Bobby Belt is dropping this on us about Amari Cooper. And we've been killing Jerry over this. Now, Jerry still has to make the choice. But I just wonder how compelling Michael, I just wonder how compelling Mike McCarthy was. Y'all not hearing me? Mike McCarthy already said, and people said, oh, he was just trying to save face. He ain't got no control. And then James Jones came back and dropped a megaton bomb too and said, okay, now it's making sense. He said some of that same stuff that we was experiencing some of that same stuff in Green Bay, and Mike was doing some of the same stuff. Mike would use his influence to say, no, we don't want to bring that person in. And James Jones, who's been a Mike McCarthy apologist and he's friends, he said, no, he got to take this blame now. If he gonna claim it, then he gonna own it. If he said he's had some control, then let him own some of the problems that's been in Dallas since he's been here. Let him own it. Let him own it. You can keep on criticizing Jerry. I'll be with you. Keep criticizing Jerry, but give this joker his O2. Give it to him. Give it to him. Bobby Bell said that joker ain't no longer on this team now. Bobby Bell said, I'm about to drop dimes on this joker. Eating that banana like that dude in Belly. About to drop a dime on him. Listen to the last thing Bobby Bell says. More continued insanity.
Locker room. We'll get into his paranoia about Dan Quinn being on staff for 3 years.
Didn't I tell you? Hadn't even saw this. Did I not tell y'all this? Did I not tell you this? I believe Jerry Jones was grooming Dan Quinn to be the head coach here. Bobby Belt is giving you the second half of that. Mike McCarthy thought the same thing too, obviously. Mike McCarthy thought the same thing too. And you think about this. And we better give Dan Quinn some credit too. I'm just connecting dots for you. You don't have to accept them. We better give Dan Quinn some credit too. Why would he be paranoid of Dan Quinn? Why would he be paranoid of Dan Quinn? Let me tell you something about Dan Quinn. I'm one of these people, as a preacher, I'm a very charismatic preacher. And I'm not talking about in the way necessarily I preach, but I'm a very charismatic preacher. One of these days I'll give you some links to me preaching. I'm not going to do it right now, but I'm a different type of preacher. Not only in the way that I preach, but in the way that I live my life, people person, don't meet strangers. And some of you are probably like me. Very outgoing people, energetic people. People are just drawn to you. And when you're that type of person, when you have a light that shines very bright, people who want the light, they get paranoid about your light. Because rather than letting their light shine, they would rather dim yours so that their dim light can shine brighter, or they would rather yours to be dim so they can be the only light. And so some people, when they get people around that could actually be assets, they get paranoid about them. And what breeds paranoia is when you look at somebody and you say they're better than me. That's what breeds paranoia. I don't know if y'all are familiar with the story of David and Saul in the Bible, but it's strange because Saul was the king. But he was jealous of David, that even though God had already said, okay, now David's going to be the king, but he never took the kingship from Saul. God was going to let him ride it out. God wasn't going to take it from Saul. He was going to let him ride it out, but God also knew the kind of man Saul was. Saul was paranoid of David. They were singing songs. Saul killed 1,000 and David killed 10,000. So rather than Saul saying, yeah, we killed 11,000. No, paranoia strikes in. Saul is doing everything he can do to kill David. Dumb. We're on the same team. And if David kills 100,000 and I kill one, we killed 100,001. We're on the same team. And what God has for me, God has for me. And what God has for you, he has for you. You got a skill set. I love it. Let's use it and let's win together. How do you win with somebody? Just makes me wonder. How do you win with somebody who you're paranoid of? How do you win with them? When you think about the culture and the mentality of this team, how do you win like this? And sometimes we think we're good at hiding how we feel about people. You just think you're hiding it. People are whispering behind closed doors like, man, this dude here, boy, he does not like him. And then they'll laugh at you because you'll be standing in front of them talking about unity and camaraderie and stuff. And they'll just be looking at you like, man, this dude is so fake. It makes me realize something about the Dallas Cowboys. They were actually like two different teams. Mike McCarthy got the offensive team. He took that from Kellen Moore. And so he took the offensive team. Dan Quinn was the defensive. Let's not call him the defensive coordinator. No, he's the defensive coach. He's the defensive coach. He's the coach of this side of the team. And Mike's the coach of this side of the team. And what we saw this year is the fruition of is that this is actually not a team. See, some of us, we don't understand. This is why some of us, I see some of the stuff that some of us put in these chats. I would never want to work with you. I would never want to be on a team with you. I would never want to hang around you. We will sit up and talk about people insanely. No matter how good they do. We will talk about them insanely because we don't like them. Joy Taylor with her crazy self. I'll never forget the day she said this. Joy Taylor said, if Dak Prescott was on another team, we would be singing this man praises like crazy. She said on any other team, what Dak Prescott has done and how good he is, it would be recognized by the entire NFL. They would be blowing Dak Prescott blowing him up out of the spot. But it's because he's on this team. Because he has a star on his helmet. What he's done is not good enough. What kind of crazy standard is that? Meanwhile, we haven't been to the Super Bowl in 28 years. But that's the standard we hold Dak Prescott to. I want y'all to imagine this. What if Justin Herbert and Trevor Lawrence? What if they were playing like Dak Prescott? What if Justin Herbert's last 4 years were Dak Prescott's last 4 years? What if Trevor Lawrence's last 4 years were Dak's last 4 years? What if Deshaun Watson's last 4 years was Dak's last 4 years? What do you think we'd be saying? You think anybody would be saying they're trash? Making up every excuses of why they're not, making up every excuse of why when they win, it's not them. And then when they lose, it's all them. You think we'd be doing that? Justin Herbert has done absolutely nothing. And every time they talk about Justin Herbert, it's 3 coaches' fault. It's 3 offensive coordinators' fault. It's everybody's fault but Justin Herbert. I can tell you, man, just listening to some of the stuff that Bobby Belt said today. I don't understand how we build it. If we're 2 different teams, are we really a team? Mike McCarthy was paranoid of Dan Quinn because Dan Quinn is a culture builder. He knows how to build teams. It doesn't mean we're not going to trip on him for losing a 21-point lead in the Super Bowl against the Atlanta Falcons. But the fact that he got to the Super Bowl and the fact that even when he was with the Seattle Seahawks, they sing this man's praises. They sing the praises of Dan Quinn because of the type of coach he is. And because of the type of coach Mike McCarthy is, that's very threatening to him. I'm going to tell you something. Sometimes you got to understand, sometimes you got to start asking questions of why does someone like Bobby Belt don't like Mike McCarthy? And I've come to the conclusion is that one of the reasons why Bobby Belt doesn't like Mike McCarthy is because sometimes there are just certain people who can see what a person is. And Bobby Belt is saying, I think in essence, he knows what Mike McCarthy is. He does. Janie Scott, you hit it right on the head. Mike McCarthy is two-faced. See, Jerry has made a point, if y'all hadn't saw this, he's made a point to not say some of the things he could say about Mike McCarthy. And I'm actually tripping on how much he was singing his praises. But even in the statement he gave about Mike McCarthy, Jerry was very careful not to say anything negative about Mike McCarthy. But Bobby Belt is saying, that joker don't work here no more. That's what Bobby Belt's saying. That joker don't work here no more. I'm about to drop a dime on him. I'm about to drop a dime on him because Bobby Belt is saying something. I'm about to show y'all something. This ain't just been Jerry Jones. And Mike McCarthy, now we got to do, James Jones said it best. We got to take him at his word. If the man said he's had control, then we got to say then he's had control. Then you take responsibility for some of this stuff too. I just wonder what kind of control has Jerry given Mike? Because Jerry may have given Mike more control than he's given anybody else. I'm telling you this though. That Amari Cooper thing, that's mind-blowing for me. Because I'm telling you, if there is one move in the last 5 years under the Mike McCarthy tenure that I thought was absolutely insane, it was the Amari Cooper deal. Could y'all imagine what the Cowboys look like with Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb coming into his own now? Man, they could have did all kinds of stuff with Amari Cooper's contract. Man, we're not dumb. They could have reworked. They could have extended Amari Cooper, put more void years in there, and made that money be almost nothing over the next few years. They could have kept Amari Cooper. I know Jerry. Yeah, we save money. Man, come on, Jerry. Come on, man. That was one, because you think about it. We haven't replaced him yet. We still have not replaced Amari Cooper yet. And I'm telling you, if Amari Cooper is playing for the Dallas Cowboys in that Green Bay Packer game, even with safeties at linebacker, even with a troubled run game, they don't beat us. They do not beat us. Let me tell y'all something. Dak looks good with CeeDee Lamb, and there is no denying. Dak Prescott still ought to be sending Amari Cooper Christmas presents for the rest of this man's career. Amari Cooper changed life for Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott had never played with a wide receiver that could run routes like that. He had never played with a wide receiver that was that disciplined. He had never played with one like that. Man, Dak Prescott ate with Amari Cooper. And to do that is crazy. It's crazy. Man, I'm telling you, I really would like for Jerry. You know, some people have been asking the question, Troy. They've been asking the question about Ben Johnson. People keep saying stuff like, well, how do we know he'll be a good coach? How do we know he won't be a good coach? How do we know? How did they know Sean McVay was going to be a good coach? How did they know? Because he wasn't a head coach before. He was a position coach. So how did they know Sean McVay was going to be a good coach? How do you know? So we're going to keep going by the resume of, okay, can we find an older coach that has a Super Bowl on his resume? So it'll give us credibility and justification if we hire him? Why? Why? How do we know Kyle Shanahan was going to be a good coach? People do not understand Kyle Shanahan is an absolute great coach. He's a great coach. To use the excuse of not hiring Ben Johnson, and I'm not saying Ben Johnson is in the running. I got to do, you know, because there's so much talking going on right now. I mean, I keep seeing all these names that people are throwing out, but I just don't buy any of it yet. I think there are some more things that need to materialize. I mean, I'm laughing. I mean, we got Stephen A. Smith talking about his top 5. Man, shut up. Ain't nobody listening to you, Stephen A. Smith. We don't want to hear from you about the Cowboys' next 5 coaching candidates. Shut up. I hope the Cowboys do a real search. A real search. And really weigh out their options. And don't let money. Man, I tell folks this all the time. I understand managing your money. You should. You should be a good steward of your money. But do not let money stand between what you need. Man, if you know there is something that is going to improve your life, what you do, man, you got the money. Shoot, man, we get people, we'll go work for people for the rest of their life, and we're an investment for someone else. We're working for them, getting them all the money, letting them retire, their family having generational wealth. We'll work like a dog for people, and then we'll retire, get a little bit of money we put in our 401k and get Social Security and whatever the case may be. And we won't take a dime and invest in ourselves. Man, don't ever let money stand between what it is that you need. And it might be something that holds you back for a moment. But man, if it really is what you say that it is, don't you worry. It's going to pay off dividends. Man, y'all better learn. You better learn how to invest in yourself. And you better learn how to do the things and get the things that will make you better. I'm hoping that Jerry actually interviews Ben Johnson. I don't want the Cowboys to make a decision before the Super Bowl is over. Unless the candidate that you want is knocked out, then you go for it. But I really would like for the Cowboys to interview Ben Johnson. Because y'all already know, Nisi mentioned this. Jerry, it seems, in those first couple of years, Jerry will kind of give you some leash. Okay, show me what you got. Show me what you got. Okay, I'll do something I normally don't do. Okay, I might get you a piece or two here. I might get you a couple things here. Show me what you got. I guarantee you come in here and be successful, man, you get Jerry to the NFC Championship game, man, Jerry, we'll see some stuff from Jerry we ain't seen in so long, it'll be crazy. It'll be crazy. But I want the Cowboys to do a wide search. I do. Clay Baines, say it again. Say it again for the people in the back, Clay Baines. Say it again for the people in the back. Both of the people that Mike McCarthy didn't want on the staff. Look at what they're doing. Strange, isn't it? Dan Quinn got 12 wins again. Isn't that strange? 12 wins with the Cowboys. Now 12 wins with the Commanders in his first season. Kellen Moore, Mike McCarthy said he's the problem. Now he's on the Philadelphia Eagles doing exactly what Mike McCarthy said he didn't want to do. Clay Baines. That's the facts, Jack. You hit it on the head. Well, I don't know what to tell you. Ori is called Let's Talk Cowboys. I didn't say let's watch the Cowboys. You can do that. I mean, you can go back and watch film on that. Richard Villegas, he said, told you, G, Mike was trying to win players to back him up, keep him lying. Facts. Facts. Richard, you think about this. And this is why I'm mentioning this. This man can't build a team. This man can't build a team. Who didn't see, it seems like this locker room, there is, while it may not be totally divided, there's some division in this locker room. This man can't build teams. If Bobby Belt knows this, some of the players knew this too. And now it makes even more sense of how much Micah Parsons and these guys were singing the praises of Dan Quinn. Wonder how that made Mike McCarthy feel. I just wonder. I'm telling you, TJ, I don't know who TJ Games is, but man, the statement you made is I'm sorry. No disrespect to you. That's dumb. That's a dumb statement. This team, before Tony Romo and Dak Prescott, was absolute trash. It's dumb for you to say that. When I see people say stuff like what you said, somebody got to tell you, that's dumb. It is absolutely dumb. I don't care if you like it or not. Dumb. Bring something to the community other than Dak Prescott hate. That's dumb. Find you somewhere else to go. Go and create your own channel of I hate Dak Prescott and get your followers. But that's a dumb statement. Before Tony Romo and now Dak Prescott, man, this team had no chance of sniffing a winning season. Man, stop it. It's dumb. It's funny, Marlon Brando, you said he's a fake insider. What you know? Who you know inside? I believe Bobby Belt over you. How you know he's a fake insider? I don't believe he's a fake insider. Because he talks to people. I guarantee you he talks to people in the facility. We know your hatred won't let you see reason. So, hey, it is what it is. You don't have to believe it. But I'll take Bobby Belt over you. Because everything he said, you tell me, show me where there's no fact in what he said about Kellen Moore. The Amari Cooper story, now it makes sense. It makes absolute sense because nobody could ever make sense of it. Now it makes sense. And I don't believe Bobby Belt is going to come out and make a bold statement that he ran Amari Cooper out of town and even put some more mustard on it and the team didn't like it. I'm not listening to you. Lee Time, what man wants another man looking over his shoulder? Why are you looking over your own shoulder? That's the question you have to ask yourself, Lee. How do you know somebody's looking over your shoulder? Do your doggone job. I'll tell you in a minute, take my job, take it. Whoever want it, take it. Take it. Some of our mentality is crazy. It's like people with self-esteem. Ooh, he took my self-esteem. How do you take self-esteem? Help me out. It's called self-esteem. It's not called people's esteem. It's self-esteem. So how does somebody take your self-esteem? I don't know what area y'all from. I'm built different. Take my job. Take it. Take it. Because the only way you're taking it is that I'm not doing it. Take it. And I don't know what field you're in. Unless you got your own thing, praise be to God. But if you're working for someone, there's someone always looking over your shoulder. If you're in any position of power, there's always somebody looking over your shoulder. There's always somebody that wants your position. Well, the only way they get it is you don't do your job. Someone's always looking over your shoulder. Unless you got your own business. And even then, somebody's looking over your shoulder that if you got any competition, well, their job is to knock you out of competition. Man, this ain't man stuff. Sorry, this is craziness. Give a doggone of Dan Quinn. Man, Dan Quinn, thank you. Thank you for balling out, bro. I just wonder if Mike McCarthy, because if Mike McCarthy got paranoia as it applies to Dan Quinn, I just wonder when Jerry Jones started talking about getting him Bobby Wagner or started talking about bringing in some other players. I just wonder, did Mike McCarthy go in the office with Dan Quinn? I just wonder. Because if I'm already paranoid about Dan Quinn maybe being groomed to be the next coach here, do I really want to do anything to help it? Let me tell you something. When you think stupid like this, you destroy a team. It's not in his best interest for Dan Quinn to necessarily be ultimately successful. How stupid is that? If I don't want Kellen Moore calling plays, let me tell you how your mind thinks. If I don't want Kellen Moore calling plays, do I really want Kellen Moore to win? Y'all better understand the human psyche. Paranoia will do things to you, man, that'll drive me. I'm telling you, it'll drive you crazy. Folks who married, mess around and think your wife or your husband cheating on you. Watch the stuff you'll start doing. Just watch what you'll start doing. Going through their phone. Going through their emails. Every little thing they say, you'll be like, oh, wait a minute, that sounds kind of strange. You'll be putting on the locators on your phone, trying to put trackers on the phone, on the slide, trying to make sure they are where they say they are. You will drive your own self crazy in your marriage if you think that your spouse is cheating on you. Man, I'm telling you, y'all better learn how the psyche works. And I'm sorry. Take my job. Dan Quinn, if we go 16-0 and it's because of defense, you get all the credit. I'll give you the credit because guess what's going to happen for me? Those wins still go on my resume. That Super Bowl still goes on my resume. And the only thing that's going to happen, if you take my job, guess what happens? Someone says, hey, G was in the Super Bowl. He was the coach of that Super Bowl team. Let's hire him. Better believe you're going to hire me. You're going to hire me. You know why? Because I'm going to be able to tell you, man, I build teams. I make everyone around me better. I want people better than me around me. Do y'all know this was how rich folk operate? Rich folk operate by having people around them smarter than them. Don't let Jerry Jones fool you. In his business, I guarantee you, he got a whole board of advisors telling him what to do and what not to do when it comes to making money. Problem is, he thinks he's the smartest guy in the room when it comes to football. But y'all better start thinking about this. James Jones said it best. Better let Mike McCarthy own some of this stuff. 0-3, Mike throws stones and tucks his hand. And that's exactly what he's doing. That's exactly what he's doing. Kelvin said, gee, you just hit the nail on the head. Dak has the toughest job in the NFL. That's being the Cowboys quarterback. Dak ride with Dak till Jerry Jones goes with someone else. That's it. And that's why I hope Dak Prescott learns a valuable lesson. Don't you dare speak up for a man again who won't speak up for himself. And watch this. And you might be speaking up for a man that you never know. He might have been speaking against you. Boy, this thing with Bobby Belt. Shoo. Playmaker Spivey. You can call him a fraud all you want to, but did he say something that wasn't true? Did he say what he said about Kellen Moore? Was it true or not? Now, if you're talking about a fraud, now, I already got problems with 105.3 The Fan. Because when it comes to the Cowboys, they need to X-fan off their whole board when it comes to the Cowboys. Because there is nobody that hates on the Cowboys at times like them. They're one of these radio stations to me, and where I really lost a lot of respect for them. And I don't really hear this guy on the radio no more, but it was the guy who brought the lady who had the accusations against Dak Prescott when they brought the lawyer on the radio station. I said, man, this is low. This is low. But I tell you this, you know how I know that Dak Prescott ain't playing with these folk? Have y'all noticed? Jerry Jones has been with the Fan, I guess, since he got to Dallas. Have y'all noticed something about Dak Prescott? Dak Prescott don't fool with none of them. Dak don't fool with none of them. How do you be the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys and the station of the Dallas Cowboys, you don't even speak to him? Dak ain't fooling with him. Dak ain't fooling with him. Dak knows how they are. He ain't fooling with none of them. And especially after the other thing they did. Janie Scott said, we all have our opinions about this, but we do have to give people the benefit of the doubt. Playmakers. Hey, I'm telling you, Janie, why would Bobby Belt say this? Now, you gotta understand, Bobby Belt said he bringing receipts. Bobby Belt can't say this unless it's true because he can be proven wrong on this. So what Bobby Belt is saying, nah, you don't say stuff like this. You don't say stuff like this. You do not say stuff like this unless you can back it up. No doubt, but G is not off base on the breakdown within. Troy, I'm telling you, see, now we're getting the rest of the story. Mike McCarthy sitting on the podium talking about I build teams. No, you don't. Man, you sitting up here paranoid about Dan Quinn. And I kind of figured that already because I actually thought Jerry was wanting Dan Quinn to be the head coach. Because Dan Quinn had been had been people. You know, we got a couple of teams right now. The Chicago Bears. I don't believe they're gonna hire Mike McCarthy. He hasn't got a call from I'm thinking they may be saying the Jets. I will not be surprised if Mike McCarthy is not coaching this year. But have you noticed? But at the same time, there's also not a frenzy for Mike McCarthy. There's not a frenzy for Mike McCarthy. People aren't checking for Mike McCarthy like that. But I can remember Dan Quinn. It was like every season there were teams checking for Dan Quinn. I mean, literally, there were teams checking for Dan Quinn. And Dan Quinn finally found the one that he liked. But man, Bobby Belt cannot say what he's saying unless, as he said, I'm bringing receipts. I can't wait. I can wait, but I can't wait. It's crazy. It's crazy. Bobby Belt is saying something. We're going to drop this. I'm about to drop a dime on this dude. Y'all giving this dude too much credit. I'm about to drop a dime on him. Because even Mike Fisher said, we talking about Jerry did him wrong. All Mike had to do was refuse. Mike could have told Jerry, thanks but no thanks. No negotiation. Jerry would have immediately said, Mike, see you later. You're free to talk to who you want to then. You don't have but a week. You talk to who you want to then. I'm telling you, we're not thinking sometimes when we're looking at this stuff. We're not thinking. Shoo, CB. Man, Dak still ought to be sitting in that dude's presence, man. Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper taught Dak Prescott how to be a quarterback. By the way he ran routes, his work ethic, and where the balls needed to be placed. Man, Dak, I'm telling y'all, CD and Dak have been great. But man, Amari Cooper and Dak Prescott were lethal. Man, them dudes were lethal. But the Amari Cooper thing, it never made sense. It never made sense. In no universe, it never made sense. It makes sense now. It makes sense now. And I'm telling you, there is no way. I just can't see Bobby Belt telling this story and don't have the receipts. CB, I'm with you. I don't think they're going to hire Ben Johnson, but I think they should look. I would hope, though, at least get an interview. Get an interview. There are two other coaches, and I don't care nothing about no stinking Rudy Rule. They need to get rid of this mess. There are two coaches. I don't care if they're black, yellow, or green. These two coaches, the Cowboys need to talk to. Aaron Glenn and especially Brian Flores. Brian Flores worked wonders in Miami. It wasn't until, because when he got let go, I was like, hold on a second, something ain't right here. It wasn't until I heard the stuff about Tua Tagovailoa and some of those other players that it made sense. But if Brian Flores has turned himself around, Jerry needs to have a serious conversation with Brian Flores. He really does. He needs to have a serious conversation with Brian Flores. All of the talk about John Gruden. I've already got a video on the thing with John Gruden. I have a hard time believing the Cowboys or anyone will touch John Gruden with what he has going on at the Nevada Supreme Court against the NFL. I have a hard time believing it. And the crazy thing is, I think what could be holding people back from Brian Flores has a discrimination suit, if I'm not mistaken. It's still ongoing against the NFL. I mean, how long has this been now? 3 years? I'm not sure a team will bring in Brian Flores. Rudy Ogwin, welcome to the channel. I'm not sure that Jerry is even looking at Kellen Moore. I mean, let me take that back. I know Jerry is looking at Kellen Moore. I'm just not sure if Kellen Moore is going to be the move. But one of the things that they're saying to me, man, the way Jerry operates, Kellen Moore. Now, this wouldn't bother me. Kellen Moore, if he comes to the Cowboys, it's being floated out there that if Jerry Jones brings Kellen Moore to the Cowboys, they're going to put Jason Witten on the staff. Because, as I said last night, I think Jerry Jones has visions of sugar plums dancing in his head. Because he thinks that maybe Jason Witten can be the next Dan Campbell. But Jerry Jones also needs to understand something. Jason Witten cannot be the next. He cannot be the next Dan Campbell unless players are put around him. Dan Quinn's got a plethora of players, and a lot of that came from the Detroit Lions doing bad for so long. So Dan Campbell got a ton of players over there. So Jason Witten can't be Dan Campbell without players, without an OC like Ben Johnson, and without a DC like Aaron Glenn. Can't do it. You can't compare apples to oranges. Troy says they said that Romo was trash, and he said every Cowboys record there was. We eat quarterbacks here. We eat them. We eat them up. This is why when I talk about quarterbacks, I talk about Romo too. I liked Romo. Romo was a very athletic quarterback. Romo was good. But Romo, like Dak Prescott, we'll make the same argument for Romo. Now, Romo had teams. Man, when you talking about teams, yeah, we had a team that was good for what we've had since the 90s Cowboys. But when you look at our teams and you weigh them out against those teams that we're playing in the playoffs, we're not as good as them. But Jerry has a philosophy, and it is what it is. We can't get out of it. Jerry has a philosophy, do more with less. Oh, yeah. What's going on, Chanel? What's going on? Native David, what is the major thing we need on offense and defense? One, we need a play caller. We need a play caller. This is one of the reasons why I'm sure Jerry Jones is probably looking at Kellen Moore. But I don't know. I'm just not thinking yet it's going to be Kellen Moore. I really don't have a clue at this time. I mean, there's so many things being floated around out here. You don't really have a clue. You really don't have a clue. And so even Troy Aikman is talking about Kellen Moore. He's talking about the familiarity. You know, people know him in the building, blah, 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 blah. And if you think about Kellen Moore coming in, there would not be a lot of change. Probably wouldn't be a lot of change if Kellen Moore came in. But the problem I see with this is that you still create this issue of, okay, we got two teams. Kellen Moore, you're going to be over the offense. We're going to pick for you who's going to be able to defense. So is Kellen Moore coaching the team? Or is Kellen Moore is Kellen Moore coaching the whole team and the offense coordinator? Or is he just the offensive coordinator and he's over the offense? And the defense coordinator, he's over the defense. Which one is it? This is why I'm kind of wary about, I just wouldn't have an ego about this. I would run my business more, like Mike Tomlin and the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm the coach. I actually don't want to call plays. Because to me, I think a team at times needs the coach to be able to step to the OC, step to the DC, talk to the individual players on the defense, talk to the individual players on the offense, be able to get in the huddle sometimes, huddle up the offense, huddle up the defense, whatever the case may be. Get over there on the special teams, get in and listen to what they're saying. And if you hear something that didn't get added, add it. Put that extra flair on there. You got to always be dealing with, as a coach, you got to almost be shepherding the team. It's your responsibility to keep your team's morale up, but at the same time, keep them even-tempered. Don't let them get too down. Don't let them get too up. Keep them in the flow of the game. Be in conversation with the OC. Hey, hold on a second. Hey, Dak's kind of struggling a little bit right here. Can we get him something easy? Hey, you know what? You got this play called right here. I remember we called it a couple of games ago. No, we might not do that. Maybe we should go with something else. I mean, just be in the flow of the game. How do you be in the flow of the game and you're the OC and the head coach? I just wouldn't want to operate like that. I want to shepherd the team. I want to shepherd the team. No, Jerry, get me a great OC and a great DC. I'm good. And then if they do good, take my job. We need a play caller. A running back is going to change life for Dak Prescott and this team. They are going to get a running back. I'm not sure if it's going to be Ashton Genty. I'm just kind of like, man, will the NFL let Ashton Genty get to the Cowboys? I mean, y'all think about this. How often does this happen? It's the draft. And all of a sudden, everybody starts talking about the Cowboys are looking at this player, and somebody will trade right in front of us and get that player. Ashton Genty, there are some teams that think he is a generational running back. And so, man, there's 11 people picking in front of us. Now, according to Tankatron still has the Dallas Cowboys. Let me see if they still have it. Yep. They still have the Dallas Cowboys getting Ashton Genty. A running back is going to change life in this city, native Dad. It's going to change it. We need a left tackle on offense. Yeah. Tyler Guyton needs to move. They need to move Tyler Guyton to the right. That they made a mistake on that. And they're going to have to live with Tyler Guyton because you got him so high. So now you're going to have to see, okay, let's put him back to where he was on the right. Because they were saying that his natural position was left. Didn't look like it to me. His feet too slow. Especially to play left tackle, man. Them feet are way too slow. What's going on, Santiago? Yes, sir. Troy Dudley, running back, defensive tackle. Yeah. Running back, it's going to change life for us. Running back is going to change life for us. And they probably will have to get a defensive tackle, Troy, because they may, I think they're going to lose those Odigizua. They're going to have to do something on that D-line. They are. Neezy said, I just want the new head coach to be the star by the end of the month. The free agents needs to be discussed in the draft. Yeah. So we're in January. The Super Bowl is somewhere around what? First, second week in February. If the coach that the Cowboys want is not in the Super Bowl, interview, decide. It's going to tell us a whole lot. Got a lot of these people last night talking about the Rams. I mean, I'm not prisoner of the moment. Rams look good against the Vikings. I don't think they're going to look like that against the Philadelphia Eagles. But I'll tell you this. If the Cowboys, if the Eagles wound up getting beat and the Cowboys go immediately for that Kellen Moore thing, then that might tell us something. So Mike Fisher is reporting that Kellen Moore has spoken out. Says here, I think this is Kellen Moore's statement. I spent a lot of time there, 8 years there, so I have plenty of relationships in that place. Moore said when asked to speak out about the Cowboys, he said, I love it here. I've had so much fun here. It's been a really fun process, and we're in a really special situation right now, getting the chance to play this Sunday, having a chance to make a run at this thing, and that's really all you worry about. Now, of course, he has no choice but to be focused on winning the game this week, but in being focused on winning the game, Cooper Rush knows what's at stake. The more he wins, the more people are going to be calling for him to get that job. Jerry has already tested this. And Jerry's not testing it, but it's already being tested by the media. Troy Aikman has tested this in the media for Jerry Jones. He said it might be, it could be Kellen Moore. The idea is already being floated out there. So it's already in the court of public opinion. And I think a lot of the fan base doesn't want it. I'm not sure how much of the fan base doesn't want it. But at the same time, if Kellen Moore was brought back, it wouldn't surprise people. It would disappoint people. I'm not sure people are going to leave the team if they pick him, but I think people might be a little bit perturbed. Native Dad, yeah, Rico Dowdle, he's not coming back. Unless nobody wants him. He's not coming back. But if he does come back, the Cowboys still need another running back. Rico Dowdle is not a home run hitter. He can get you those 100 yards, though. I mean, he can get you 115, 120 yards. Rico Dowdle can run the ball, but he's not a home run hitter. The Cowboys need a home run hitter because we're seeing the effect of this with Baltimore, with Philadelphia. We're watching the effect of this even with the Kansas City Chiefs. And we've watched it with the San Francisco 49ers. Christian McCaffrey has been nothing but a home run hitter until whatever he's got going on with these Achilles things. So they still need a running back. And I think also, Troy mentioned defensive tackle. I also think not only do they need to get a defensive tackle, they need to get another defensive end. If you're going to keep Micah Parsons and he's going to be an undersized defensive end, what will help Micah Parsons is you need to get him another real defensive end to be on the opposite side. And what I mean by real, I mean one that is defensive end size, pure, unadulterated defensive end. Micah Parsons cannot be the only threat on this team. He can't. Chanel said, Jane Slater's outside source says she has no inside ties like Bobby, so that does not hold water. Yeah, she doesn't. She doesn't have any inside sources because Jane Slater, Jerry won't say it out loud. I think Jerry Jones has a few problems with Jane Slater. Because Jane Slater be killing him, man. Jane Slater be killing Jerry Jones. She does. Wilson says, Ben Johnson is tied with Tom Brady and the Raiders. The NFL did a quick investigation to see if there was... Ben Johnson might be a no-go for the Cowboys. Man, let me tell you something. Boy, this boy Tom Brady is doing some work, ain't he? Tom Brady is doing some work. And someone mentioned that Jerry ought to let Troy Aikman kind of do what Tom Brady is doing. But Tom Brady is part owner of the team. But with that little part that Tom Brady's owning, shoot, man, Tom Brady making his impression. He is making his impression felt. He is. I'm very interested to see what they do at quarterback. I am very interested. Gabe said, read report from Jane Slater. Jason Witten was supposed to be on the coaching staff under Mike McCarthy. I think Witten is going to be groomed. Yeah, that's what the talk is. Jason Witten will be on the staff with Kellen Moore. Now, let me tell you about me. This wouldn't bother me in the least. Now, if y'all remember, I said early in the season, if I was Mike McCarthy, well, if I was Jerry, and maybe Jerry approached him like this, because I had said this early in the season, I would extend Mike McCarthy for 2 years. 2 years. He probably wouldn't have took it, but I would have said, hey, here's the offer. 2 years. We'll pay you, because now it's being reported he's making $8 million a year. I'll be like, hey, I'm going to pay you $10 million a year with this understanding. We're bringing your replacement on staff. We're grooming your replacement on staff. Now, for me, this wouldn't bother me. For example, if I'm Kellen Moore, if the Cowboys hire Kellen Moore and bring on Jason Witten, it's not going to bother me. It's not going to bother me because my thought process is this simple. I'm getting to be a head coach. That's number one. If I would just do my job and help this team to win and build the camaraderie of this team and not be paranoid about certain things. I know what Jerry is. I know what all of this is. And now that I know what all of this is, I'm preparing for the future by winning in my present. You win in this league, one thing we know, you'll get a job. If there's no kind of crazy stuff going on with you in your personal life, you will get a job in this league. You will. So if it's me, I'm not worried about it. Freddie Morales, it's a Dallas Cowboy thing, isn't it? It would be apropos if the Cowboys announce a coach on Super Bowl Sunday. It's just Cowboys. Yeah, Mike, you're talking about Mike. Yeah, he doesn't know anybody accountable. And I think with the Cowboys, if you're going to coach the Cowboys, you got to be clever in how you hold them accountable, because we know how Jerry is. Yeah, I see why some of the players left for Washington when Dan left. See, sometimes, 03, sometimes we're seeing things and we don't understand what we're seeing because we're not being told the whole story. But this is making me understand something. No, Bobby Belt is about to tell us a part of the story. Bobby Belt is about to tell us a part of the story that we haven't quite seen yet. That's what Bobby Belt is about to show us. Troy says Steven gets paid to hate on the Cowboys. Let's see. Wait a minute. Hold on. Playmaker said, I'm not taking Belt over Slater or Fisher. I don't think you have to take him over any of them. You have to understand something. Slater is not in the building. If you ever noticed, James Slater, and this is one of the things and one of the reasons why I think Jerry Jones keeps James Slater at a distance. Let's think about how all three of them give information, Spivey. See, I'm telling y'all, you don't have to accept what I'm telling you. We got to learn to stop talking football and learn football. All three of these people, let's not pit them against each other. This is one of the problems we have sometimes. Let's not pit them against each other. Let's look at how all three of them gather information. How does all three of them gather information, Spivey? We can settle this. You can still have your own opinion, but it don't make no sense to argue it. Mike Fisher, he works at the Star. He works at the Star. But at the same time, Mike Fisher, while he works at the Star, he's still kind of operating within, but he's not within. As in, you don't necessarily hear him say a lot of times about people who he's talking to, but Mike Fisher is very knowledgeable of a lot of the things with the Cowboys because he's been around them so long. And so being around them, he probably hears little things, sees little things, blah, blah, blah. So Mike is just kind of reporting what he's seen, reporting what he's seeing, reporting what he's understanding, reporting what he maybe has overheard. He's reporting some things, and you can kind of use that as a form of an inside source. Just listen to Mike Fisher. He doesn't talk like he's got all the inside scoops per se, but he talks very reasonable based on what he's seeing and based on what he's knowing that's going on in the building because he's around it all the time. He's in the Star. He's in the building. James Slater. You ever notice how a lot of James Slater's stories start? An anonymous source. Jane has done that for years. And there have been people that have been mad at Jane Slater for revealing things as in an anonymous source. And Jane Slater has in the past, Jerry has asked her, the team has asked her to not say certain things. Why? Why are they asking her that? She doesn't necessarily have inside info, as in she has a person inside. But what she does from time to time do catch a person from the inside, like a player. And she'll ask him, what are your thoughts on this? And I'm pretty sure she's telling them, hey, and I'll let you remain anonymous. I've even heard Mike Fisher disagree with Jane Slater. Does that mean you take her over him? Mike Fisher has disagreed with her on a few occasions and prefacing it by saying Jane does a great job. Jane does a great job. Blah, 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 this and that, but I disagree with her based on this. Mike Fisher does that. And if you don't know that, you haven't been watching Mike Fisher long enough. But Bobby Belt, you got to understand something about Bobby Belt. And this is why you cannot discount anything Bobby Belt is saying. You can't discount it. Because Bobby Belt, I would argue, is closer than Mike Fisher and Jane Slater. Because of Brian Broaddus. Brian Broaddus is the key for one Bobby Belt. I'm sure Bobby Belt, he might know some folks on the inside too. But Brian Broaddus knows some people within the inner working because he worked in it. And Brian Broaddus, anytime he want to, because he still has great relationships with people inside of the Cowboys organization, Brian Broaddus can literally pick up the phone and talk to anybody he wants to almost. Anybody. So when you're hearing Bobby Belt, stop thinking in terms of Bobby Belt is just getting this information on his own. I don't believe Bobby Belt is getting this information on his own. Why? Because Bobby Belt and Brian Broaddus talk all the time. Bobby Belt and Brian Broaddus talk all the time. They actually do a show together, and they are doing a lot of talking together. A lot of talking. So when I hear Brian Broaddus saying things, you better believe. When I hear Bobby Belt saying stuff, no, I'm looking at the connections. So again, all three of them, three different ways of getting information. And so you don't have to pit any one of them against each other. Just take the information they're giving you and then watch it come to fruition. It either is or it isn't. It's not about necessarily the credibility of them against each other. They got information three different ways. Jane Slater, of the three, she is not on the inside. She is not. And Jerry is not letting Jane Slater on the inside because I'm telling you, Jerry Jones feels like Jane Slater can't hold water. He is not putting her on the inside. He is not, because Jane is not afraid to just reveal anything. You can tell with Brian Broaddus. You can tell even with Mike Fisher to a degree. Mike Fisher, sometimes he might know something and he's waiting until he reveals the whole thing. Mike Fisher is very credible. He's in the building. He's very credible. I don't always agree with him. And it's not because of some of the things he's saying in the building. Sometimes it's some of the things that he's, some of the opinions he gives about culture and stuff like that. I don't always agree with that stuff. But for the most part, I like Mike Fisher. I like things that he says. He's very knowledgeable of the Cowboys. You can't deny it. So, Jane Slater, again, she's not inside, Spivey. Playmaker. She's not inside, bro. She's not inside. That is well known. She is not inside. Her stories, you ever notice? Anonymous player. Oh, an anonymous player. Someone say, that's her. Bobby Belt. I'm not discounting Bobby Belt because I know he talks to Brian Broaddus. And Brian Broaddus knows a lot about this team. I'm not discounting it. I'm not sure about Romo. I'm not sure about Romo getting any further than Dak Prescott. I think they've both had their issues, And I think they both had issues on the team. And if you think about it, I mean, Tony Romo had some of the weapons that Dak Prescott had. He didn't have Ezekiel Elliott. Okay, he had DeMarco Murray. He had the offensive line that Dak Prescott had in the beginning in his prime. Tony Romo arguably had a better line. Okay, he didn't have CeeDee Lamb. Oh, okay, he had Dez Bryant. Who you taking? You taking Dez Bryant over CeeDee Lamb? Can't do it. Can't do it. I mean, Tony Romo. What tight end? What tight end has Dak Prescott played with that's better than Jason Witten? Who is that tight end? I mean, if it was a fifth, we'd be drunk on this one. But I would have loved to see what Tony Romo did with that team that Dak went 13-3 with. But I'm not sure that I'm not sure that Tony Romo or anyone else is beating Aaron Rodgers in that game, because they didn't lose the game because of Dak Prescott. The defense didn't make a stop. It's prime Aaron Rodgers. I mean, what do you want Dak Prescott to do? Troy Dudley says Ben is going to have first pick. Yeah, he is. Yeah. Native David, that's kind of what this one guy was talking about, is how Tom Brady is having some influence that maybe that Jerry would let Troy do the same thing. Wilson, $20, Jerry do it the day of the Super Bowl. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Jerry can't go 1 second without being in the headlines. And you know what? They want him in the headlines. Who else draws like Jerry? Who else draws like Jerry? Who else draws like Jerry and the Cowboys? I mean, there's nobody. There's nobody that does it. And so, man, the media loves Jerry Jones. They love him because it is insane to me. We're in the midst of a playoff, and we're talking more about the next coach.
So these earbuds have three.
We're talking more about the next coach of the Dallas Cowboys than we are about what's going on the field. Just goes to show you the power of it goes to show you the power of the Dallas Cowboys and Jerry Jones. And Jerry loves every minute of it. Jerry loves absolutely every moment of it. And so, I mean, I really do hope, though, that Jerry and the Cowboys, I really hope they take their time. At least until maybe you get to the NFC Championship game. So you're only talking about another couple of weeks. That's kind of what I would do. I mean, I really think the Cowboys need to do as much as they can. Yeah, I really do think the Cowboys need to do as much as they can as it pertains to I'm sorry, hold on a second. Just kind of moderating here for a moment. Yeah, I mean, I really do think okay, hold on a second. I hit the wrong person on accident. Hold on a second. I'll try to do some moderating here real quick. But yeah, I'm telling us that the Cowboys, they really need to do their due diligence on this. Yeah, they really need to do their due diligence on this so they can make sure that this time they're going to get the right coach. I mean, I think even with Mike McCarthy, I mean, I really do think they rushed way too fast on Mike McCarthy. All right. Yeah, I think we moved way too fast on Mike McCarthy. I think they might need to I think they need to take a little bit more time. But I'll tell you this. I think Jerry Jones, I think he already has in his mind who he wants. I think Jerry Jones already has in his mind who he wants. I do. I think he knows who he wants. I think he can't just go get him because of the way the NFL rules are set up, but I think he knows exactly who he wants. I do. Yep. It is going to be absolutely interesting what the Dallas Cowboys do with this coaching thing. I'm moving past Mike McCarthy after this week. Mike McCarthy is an afterthought after this week. I do want to finish out the thing that Bobby Belt is talking about. I just think it's fascinating. Because I think the Bobby Belt thing is actually going to give a lot of us clarity. I think it's going to give a lot of us clarity now on some things that we were confused about as it applied to this team. Because I'm telling you, the Amari Cooper thing to me has always been crazy. I'm like, why in the world would we get rid of Amari Cooper? And so many different explanations have been given. But Bobby Belt is now saying, I'm about to drop a dime on this dude. Bobby Belt said, I'm about to drop a dime. He said, I'm about to drop a dime on this dude. He said, y'all about to see the real Mike McCarthy. The real Mike McCarthy. We do. We need to see him. Because this dude, man, people are making this dude into a sympathetic figure. Yeah, how do you make a dude making $40 million into a sympathetic figure? It's crazy to me. Chanel, you on point. He had the worst run defense in the NFL all the time he was here. Yep. The thing about Dan Quinn's defenses, when you're ahead, Dan Quinn will tear you up. But if they were behind, Dan Quinn couldn't stop the run. But you know what, Chanel? You think about this. So the question is this, like I asked before. It is well known Dan Quinn wanted Bobby Wagner. Did Dan Quinn go to Jerry Jones and say, I want Bobby Wagner? Or did Mike McCarthy go with Dan Quinn and said, get us Bobby Wagner? I really would like to know. I would. Man, Troy Dudley, we're on the same wavelength on this. Quinn's defense only worked when Dallas had the lead. That's it. His defense in Dallas was built to play with a lead. And when they didn't have the lead, it was a wrap. It was a wrap. Yeah, Chanel, I'm the same way. I don't want to rush to hire a coach. I really want Jerry Jones to strongly consider. And I'm telling you, I'm serious. I really think if it's a possibility, I'm going to leave no stone unturned. Why not bring in John Gruden for an interview? Why not? If I'm interviewing and it's coaches, I would love to be interviewing some of these people so they can maybe tell me, hey, what do you think is wrong with our team? What do you think we need to do to fix it? This is free information. Even if you don't plan on hiring guys, if you know they have great minds, they've been in great systems, what do you think we need to do to fix the team? What kind of defense would you run if you were here? What would your offense look like? What would you do with Dak Prescott? What would you do with Micah Parsons? I'm getting the information from these people to find out what would they do, y'all. It's free information. It's like Mike McCarthy. I'm telling you this. I bet you Mike McCarthy interviews well. Mike McCarthy could be on an advisory board. Advisory. Not making all of the decisions, but on an advisory board. Yeah. I do think they're probably going to be looking at a new scheme. But I'll tell you this, Chanel. Defensive coordinator, already on the team. I wouldn't even blink. Al Harris, this is not even a conversation. Al Harris is going to be my new DC. I'm grooming Al Harris to be, if not the head coach of my team, I'm grooming Al Harris to be the head coach of an NFL team. I'm grooming Al Harris. I'm about to put Al Harris into the conversation of a head coach in this league. I would. Al Harris is the defensive coordinator for me. No need even worrying about that. Appreciate your real Daryl. Troy Dudley said, facts, some folks will be in full panic mode before Dallas hired. You were right about that, Troy. He said if McCarthy do not allow this interview, he would have never gotten this job. Facts. I think he told them what they wanted to hear. Dallas can definitely get Chargers first round pick 2025 for Micah and then some. Cowboys pick 12th and can get 22nd from LA. Can fill two needs, first round running back and wide receiver in this scenario. Hey, I already done got the backlash from talking about trading Micah Parsons. Man, them folks on X will kill you talking about Micah Parsons, boy. Them jokers, they can't stand it. Real fan, McCarthy coming back in a mentor role doesn't necessarily mean he will get another job. Somebody was talking about him coming back in a mentor role. I wouldn't want him in a mentor role. Now, he can be on an advisory board, but I don't want him nowhere near the team. Eric Bieniemy didn't get any credit for the Chiefs' success. Andy Reid got the credit. Now, Real Fan 1, I talked about this before. I don't know who Eric Bieniemy's advisors are. They advised Eric Bieniemy wrong. Ben Johnson is the blueprint. Ben Johnson is not going to move from the Detroit Lions unless he gets exactly the deal that he wants. And while he's waiting, and the reason why he's patiently waiting is Ben is racking up wins and he's building his legacy. Let the Detroit Lions mess around and go to the Super Bowl and win. Ben Johnson is going to get whatever he wants. Ben Johnson, if the Detroit Lions win the Super Bowl, Ben Johnson getting whatever he wants. Whatever he wants. He's going to go to a team and they're going to do everything he asks. At least for 5 years. They're going to do everything Ben Johnson wants. Eric Bieniemy, the dumbest thing he did, Real Fan. Now, one of the real dumb things he did was he was an antagonist towards Patrick Mahomes. It's well documented him and Patrick Mahomes did not get along the best. But the other dumb thing that Eric Bieniemy did, stay on the team, man. For every Super Bowl that gets won over there, and people were giving Eric Bieniemy credit. They were not giving him all the credit, but they were giving him credit. And then they turned around and won a Super Bowl without him, so it's kind of hard to give him all the credit. But Eric Bieniemy was getting credit. If Eric Bieniemy just would have stayed with Kansas City. Eric Bieniemy, be patient. Keep winning. Just keep winning. It don't matter what anyone says. There are people who are looking or saying Eric Bieniemy is a part of this too. Just keep winning. And eventually, the job you wanted would have came around. Somebody would have picked him up. They would have. I don't know who this man's advisors are. Why would you go and make a lateral move? I remember when he went to the Washington Commanders, I said, this is dumb. I said, this is dumb. Why would you do that? Unless me and Patrick Mahomes can't get along, I'm not leaving Patrick Mahomes. I don't give a care what nobody say. I'm not leaving Patrick Mahomes to go anywhere else. Only way I'm going is up. I'm not making lateral moves, and I'm not going to the college game. Nope, not doing it. Not doing it. The path is in front of him. He should have stayed the course. Ben Johnson is. Ben Johnson could have had the Washington Commanders job. I'm hearing he was going to get somewhere around what? 13, 14 million? Shoot, Ben Johnson said, nah, if I can't get it how I want it, I'm not leaving. He shouldn't have went there. He should have never went there. Why go for a lateral move? Eric Bieniemy, That was the dumbest move he made. I would have stayed with Kansas City, man. I would have. And Ben Johnson is doing it the way you should do it. Man, just keep winning. You keep winning. Eventually, somebody going to say, hey, man, let's go ahead and get this dude. Let's go ahead and bring him in and give him a chance. Playmaker said, woo. Rather have Rex Ryan over John Gruden. You know what? I'll tell you this much. I wouldn't mind having Rex Ryan on the staff but the only thing about Rex Ryan, I got Al Harris. So if Rex Ryan came on, he would definitely be strictly a coach. Chanel said, not only does he know who he wants, yes, I believe that he has already spoken to the person's agent. Yep. Remember, the NFL only states you can only talk to coaches during a set time. It does not state that, yeah, I'm with you. I think he's already decided. Kitty boy, I've already brought up Doug Peterson. I did a video on Doug Peterson. Yeah. I think they ought to talk to Doug Peterson for sure. Yeah, that you can't talk to that coach's agent. Yeah, Chanel, I'm with you. I think Jerry already got in his mind who he wants. He just knows he got to go through the process. Gabe said, I think Chicago gets Ben Johnson and New Orleans gets Aaron Glenn. Now, they're saying that New Orleans might possibly get Mike McCarthy. They'll have to wait until Pro Bowl to get that done. Mike McCarthy ain't getting no head coaching job. I'm not going to be surprised if he doesn't. Because at the end of the day, man, again, people can say anything they want to say about Bobby Belt. Bobby Belt spoke nothing but facts. 2 of the 12 win seasons were crediting to Mike McCarthy. Kellen Moore was the head coach. He was the head coach. What was he doing? I'm just saying. Playmaker, who's going to replace Parsons? Nah, they're not. It's no point in even having that discussion, Playmaker. They ain't getting rid of Mike Parsons. And at this point, since they're not going to get rid of him, he's the quarterback of the defense, per se. They need to get them an actual middle linebacker and let him be the quarterback of the defense. But Micah Parsons is basically he's what you're calling the star on the defense. He needs help. He needs another defensive end opposite of him. Somebody that can rush the passer also. Because Micah Parsons, what he lacks in size, he does have speed. He does have strength. And if you can get this defense or these other teams, someone else to worry about other than Micah Parsons, this is why when DeMario and Overshown come back in 2026, and depending upon what they get this year as it pertains to the defense, watch how this team looks. Telling y'all, man, 2026 chip year. Yeah, Robert Dibb, they said they're going to do it before the Super Bowl. Everybody putting their money on it. Playmaker said, I believe Ben Johnson is better as an OC as opposed to a head coach. Now, Playmaker, you're making a good point. But think about this. Does Jerry really want a head coach? Jerry, to me, seems like he wants an OC. Because the offense and the defense are ran by 2 different people, and it's almost like it's 2 different coaches. It's like we're watching 2 teams rather than 1 team. You remember Mike McCarthy was saying some of this similar stuff this year. Yeah, we need to cross Dak Prescott was talking about it. We're crossing the hallways, sitting in on some of the different meetings. Oh, you're saying being a team. You're talking about being a team, offense and defense being together and trying to figure out what each other's doing. You're talking about being a team. That's not how they've been operating. So when you talk about Jerry, Ben Johnson being the head coach OC, he's really the OC with the title of the head coach. How is he running the day-to-day operations being the OC? Being the OC and the head coach. How does the head coach, who is the OC, how does he get to sit in on the defensive meetings if they're both going on at the same time? How does he get to be in on both game plans when he's spending all of his time on his own game plan, and then he's got to cram in the defensive game plan. Oh no, hey, I just trust he's gonna do what he do. Oh, I just trust him, he's gonna do what he do. That's why I'd rather have a coach and an OC. That's just me. Lee Time, he said, yeah, Eric been tripping. Man, Eric should have stayed with them doggone Cincinnati Bengals, man. Should have stayed with them Bengals. Revelation, man. Sean Lee as a head coach. Man, I would love to see it. Man, Sean Lee, man, that dude body hadn't gave up on him, man. Sean Lee, man, shoot. That dude, Sean Lee. Hall of Fame. Okay, Chanel, you don't like Al Harris? You don't like Al Harris? You said you don't believe he's ready to be a DC. Okay, let me ask you this, because I brought this up before. So Chanel, let me ask you this. What about Al Harris, DC, Mike Zimmer in a consultation role like he was with the Colorado Buffaloes? Mike Zimmer overseeing Al Harris until he's ready. Tell me your thoughts on that. You also said he needs some more grooming. I don't think Al Harris is better than Robert. You talking about Saleh or Steve Wilkes. Now, those are already DCs, right? So that would require Jerry Jones to bring them in on lateral moves and then pay them more money. And the question is Jerry willing to do that? I think Jerry loves Al Harris. But again, what do you think about bringing him in and having Zim in that consultation role like he was at Colorado? Keedy Boy, he could take that dry West Coast offense to the XFL or CFL. Hey, I call it stale as toast West Coast offense, and he runs the most generic form of it. Gabe says, G, if Al Harris is the next DC for Dallas, would defensive scheme change from 4-3 to 3-4? That's true. I don't know where he stands on that, but I couldn't see it changing a lot. Would be interesting to see how much Micah fits under that and what players they keep or get if that's the case. Yeah, it would be. But hey, y'all, get ready. We are about to see one of the biggest changes with the Dallas Cowboys I believe we've seen in years. I do. And I'm telling you, Mike McCarthy to me did something to this team. He did something to this team to me. With his 3 12-win seasons, they're three of the weirdest seasons. Because in none of those seasons, I can remember even when the Dallas Cowboys, what was it, maybe 2014-ish? With Tony Romo and the catch. The team, Garrett seemed to be able to build a better team than how I felt about Mike McCarthy. Jason Garrett with the 13-3 team in 2016. Dak Prescott in his rookie year. I felt better about that 13-3 team because I know that the only reason why they got beat in that game, I can't even necessarily blame the defense per se, not making that last stop, even though I wish they would have made that last stop. It was Aaron Rodgers. This man threw Mike McCarthy's play in the trash and called his own. Had he ran Mike McCarthy's play, we'd probably go on to the next game. Mike McCarthy's teams, man, they just don't seem right. And it's like the way he's leaving the team just isn't together. And it never quite seemed together. I just can't call it. The thing with Mike McCarthy, it's just strange. I'm just hoping we can get back to a point of a team. I want us to build a team. I want us to stop talking bad about the quarterback. Stop blaming this person and that person on the team. How about we play as a team? The team, Micah Parsons, keep your podcast. Just keep the players' names out of your mouth. Stop saying things that bring attention to your players they don't want. Build a culture. Build a team. That's what I'm hoping for. I hope the next coach can really help with that, can help galvanize the team. Jerry gonna be Jerry, so that is what it is. But can we get a coach that can still build a team with that? Gabe said, oh yeah, Harris is part of a 3-4 scheme in Green Bay. That's why I was wondering if Dallas would change unless Harris is up to date on the 4-3 system. Interesting. I think I will not be surprised if we're about to find out. I'm not gonna be surprised. Jeremy, I mean, so you like me, because I'm telling you, Jeremy, it was three of the weirdest 12-win seasons. They just never felt right. They never felt right. There was something that was off about them. And I think a big part of it is in winning those games, it was still like we were never a team. We were never a team. And I think Bobby Bella's going to give us some insight. We'll see how that goes. The Real Fan 1 game was tied when Aaron Rodgers made that great throw to put them in field goal range to win. Cowboys weren't leading. I still think we win. I remember that. Yeah, you're right. I still think we win. But Aaron Rodgers, man, I'm not even mad at him. I mean, it was Aaron Rodgers in his prime. Man, that dude Aaron Rodgers was lethal in his prime. And for Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott, both being rookies, and how they performed that year, man, I'm telling you something. Jason Garrett, I know we call him Captain Clap and 8-8, but he had 4 of those, but it was 3 at the beginning and 1 at the end. And I don't know. I don't think there was another one in there, but whatever the case was, man, Jason Garrett did a phenomenal job with Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott in that rookie season. Phenomenal. I felt better about that team than I felt about any team since those Super Bowl years. Man, Dak, Zeke, and that whole team, man, it was phenomenal. It was. Troy said Al Harris could follow Mike. Oh, yeah, he could. You know what else, though? If Jerry don't do something with Al Harris, keep playing with Dan Quinn. Keep playing with Dan Quinn. Let Al Harris be available. I wouldn't be surprised if Dan Quinn. And y'all better get ready. And I'm going to close out on this. Do not be shocked. That doggone Dan Quinn, I believe, is going to get some more of these Cowboys players. I think Dan Quinn going to get some more of these doggone Dallas Cowboy players who we don't sign. I think Dan Quinn going to do it. Y'all, don't be surprised. Rico Dowdle, don't be shocked if he's in Washington. Odigizua, if we don't sign Odigizua, don't be surprised if he's in Washington. I'm just telling you, we got some show enough players that are on the verge of really taking off. And if we don't sign them, Dan Quinn is. Dan Quinn wants our defensive players because he's been a part of the building process on them. Dan Quinn. I wouldn't be surprised if we got Odigizua. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets Rico Dowdle. I wouldn't be surprised if he drives the price up on Kevontae Turpin. Dan Quinn is going to get some of our players, man. Do not, I'm telling you. Buddha, what's going on? They trying to say Mike got Cooper off the team, allegedly. Yeah, that's what we were just talking about. Shoot, Bobby Bell said, I'm bringing receipts, brother. I'm going to report on it, too. I'm going to report on this because Bobby Belt is letting us he's letting us in on what I call the dirty underbelly. Dan Quinn Mike McCarthy trying to roll up out of here like, man, I ain't done nothing wrong. They doing me wrong. Then you start hearing the whole story. You like, oh, okay, I see what's going on. Yeah, yes, sir, Game Bomber. Chauncey Golston. I'm telling you, man, I believe Dan Quinn, it is not going to shock me if Dan Quinn pick up at least 3 of the Cowboys players. And then we're going to be crying again because those same players are going to be balling with Dan Quinn. They are going to be balling with Dan Quinn. And, hey, watch this. DeMarcus Lawrence. I'm not going to be shocked if DeMarcus Lawrence is in Washington. I'm not going to be surprised. I bet you Dan Quinn is salivating. I know D-Law is older. Let me tell you something about D-Law. There's a market for DeMarcus Lawrence because DeMarcus Lawrence, while he's not a great pass rusher anymore, DeMarcus Lawrence is good in the run game. DeMarcus Lawrence is good in the run game. And I'm sure we're not bringing him back. I am not going to be shocked if DeMarcus Lawrence is playing with the Washington Commanders or a contender. I wouldn't be shocked to see him with a team like Kansas City. DeMarcus Lawrence is going to play, and he already said as much. Chanel said Ben Johnson's not going to Chicago. Ben wants to have a quarterback that he knows he can win with in his system. Yeah, we're going to see. It's going to be interesting to see where he goes. Kevin said, I'm like you all. I want for the team to be a team. We have each other back on the field and off the field. That's what they've been missing. And now we're seeing that now Mike McCarthy wasn't capable of that. He wasn't capable of that. He just wasn't. I'm going to tell y'all somebody else to watch out for. I wouldn't be surprised if Dan Quinn tries to make a run at Zach Martin. I don't think we've seen the last of Zach Martin. There are going to be teams vying for the services of one Zach Martin. I will not be surprised if the Cincinnati Bengals want to bring on Zach Martin. I will not be surprised. I'm definitely not going to be surprised if the Washington Commanders want to bring him on. There will be teams. They're going to be wanting Zach Martin's services. We're going to lose some free agents to some of these teams. Oh man, Jordan Lewis, they better sign him. Man, I think Jordan Lewis gonna command some money. I think we're gonna go over. You know what? That's what we'll do tomorrow. Tomorrow, if not Thursday, we're gonna go over again the Cowboys free agents. That'll be part of our show. We're gonna see what these receipts are. We're gonna see the receipts that Bobby Belt's gonna bring, and then we'll also talk about the Cowboys free agents. We'll talk about that. Because with this thing with the Cowboys and the Cowboys and the head coach, I don't think we're going to know anything for the next 2 to 3 weeks. Jerry going to keep us all in suspense. I'm with y'all. I'm not even going to bet against you. Yeah, Jerry Jones announced it the day Jerry Jones today before the Super Bowl. He might do it the day before the Super Bowl, man. I bet the owners already talking to Jerry Jones. Hey, Jerry. Don't you dare do this the day before the Super Bowl. Nisa said Dan Quinn was talking to that entire defense the first time he was allowed to interview. Yep. And he gonna take some more of them with him, I think, too. He do. Troy Dudley, I'm with you. Jordan Lewis has only been the best player, at least the best player in the secondary the whole season. J. Lou has been the best player in the secondary all season long. I'm getting ready to do a list of my top 5 offensive players for the year and my top 5 defensive players of the year. Man, let me tell you something. J. Lou in that thing, man. Shoo. J. Lou did his thing this year. He did his thing this year. Kevin Howard says, I got the Lions on upset. Oh, you talking about against the Commanders? Hey, man, the Commanders got a shot simply because the Detroit Lions defense is decimated. Aaron Glenn's going to rise to the occasion, but they can be scored on. And this ain't Aaron Glenn's fault. They just don't have the horses like they had. But the thing about Detroit, though, they can score points. They're loaded on offense. So if the Commanders are going to beat them, they better put up some points. They better put up some points. Nisi said the new HC should trade them versus letting them walk. Yeah, that'd be interesting. I think Jerry gonna let them walk though. Okay, the Commanders already have a really good right guard in Sam Cosmi. Okay, as it pertains to Zach Martin, the place I think he's gonna be game, I think he's gonna be in Cincinnati. Boy, they need an offensive line bad. Hey, G, Ezekiel is not all about the wheel in the middle of the wheel, but it's all about the Holy Spirit of the unit of the will. Yes, sir. I hear you. Stop it, man. Stop it, man. We had this conversation last night. Hey, we going to have this conversation strong on Friday. Hey, you make sure you be back on Friday. We going to battle on this. I am not taking them doggone Rams over the Eagles. I'm not doing it. I am not doing it. All right, guys. I'm going to let Michelle Pyatt have the last word. Appreciate y'all rocking with me. Memberships coming soon. Call-in show coming soon, man. I'm still trying to get this thing to work right. I'm working with it off, but I'm ready to start letting y'all voices be heard so I can stop losing my voice sometimes when I get off here. So, appreciate y'all rocking with me, man. Memberships coming soon. Call-in show coming soon. We're going to keep building this Cowboys community, man. Y'all keep helping me build it. I appreciate you. Until the next time, let's talk Cowboys. We talk facts. Peace.